Welcome everyone to another Jenny Monday Club. We're here again for another chit-chat session with me, Jenny Kirk, and as always...
I'm Brian, and I'm here again.
Yeah, we can't get rid of him. It's like a lingering smell in the bathroom.
Oh, charming.
Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, it's great to see you all. We're starting a little bit earlier tonight because we can. And we've got a few things to talk about. We've finally seen the demise of a 00 manufacturer. If actually they'd done at least one model in N, announced a lot of others, announced a lot of models in O gauge as well. Not delivered an awful lot. I think you've probably all guessed by now who we're talking about. DJ Models has applied for voluntary winding up. And this has been a saga that's been going on for a number of years now, really. Dave Jones, formerly of Daypol, used to be known online as Daypol Dave, was really the leading spokesman from that brand. He was very, very active on social media promoting that brand and was really for a good number of years a beacon of how open a manufacturer could be in engaging with the fans. But what went wrong? I'm sure that you have an opinion on this.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't really sort of get involved with much of the different projects that he had on the go, but a lot of people that I've spoken to were a little bit miffed at different projects that were supposed to happen that just never did. Yeah. And then, of course, things like the 71, by the time that did come about.
But there was also the King as well. Do you remember that Hattons and DJ Models went into bed with each other to do a high-quality model of the King? And this is another one where Hornby also brought a King to the market, but I don't know whether we ever actually saw that or whether it's a project that sort of died a slow, painful death somewhere quietly in a back room, because just like the 71, you can't really go head-to-head with the big boys if you're not actually delivering your product. It's something that really Hornby versus Oxford Rail with the Adams Radial showed very succinctly that being first to the market is everything.
You know, going head-to-head with Hornby with something that is, you know, basically a super detailed model as well, not exactly a railroad edition, is it, really, with the 71, then obviously you're always going to come off second best with that. Yeah. Just say hello to a few people that came in first.
Devans GWR, I think you were the first one in the room. Yeah. Always good to see you. How are things going on down in Wales, South Wales? And we've also, let's have a look, was it Ned's Trains? Hello, Jenny.
And hi to Josh as well, my other half is in the room.
Oh, right. And also Galaxy Media Group. It's my little nephew, Zach. Hi to you.
Hi, Zach.
I've got I Like Transport, SGT Beer. Collins Engage, good evening to you. Leslie Gilpin. Hi, Red Team. Red Team. Who are you talking about? BR Black Terrier Productions. Sorry to drop in, but what do you think of the Bachmann 08? We've talked about that before. Just briefly, Bachmann 08, I think it's a great model. It's not as good as the Super Detail Hornby model, but you pay less for it and it's available in a lot more liveries. So you pay your money, you take your choice, but I feel that there's room for both in any collection.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I quite like the Bachmann one, but at the same time, I'm not really going to go out and buy one with the sound fitting that I do with my locos. When, of course, especially now with the TTS chip available as well. So,
Tim Bode, hi from Michigan. So we're getting people in from America as well. Always good to see people from around the world.
Hey, the Growler's in.
Lynette 12DD, evening to you. Growler. And oh gosh, there's a lot of comments coming in. It's scrolling off the top very, very quickly. But yeah, Red Team, a little snippet. You may have to elaborate what on earth you've seen. Was I on Crime Watch again? I hate it when I turn up on Crime Watch. Let's have a look. James Hardy, did you go to Crewe Open Day? I did. I've not been to Crewe Open Day for probably 20 years.
Oh, this one's a bit different though. I didn't go myself. I was half and half about going, but other things and what have you got in the way.
Which weekend was that
It's this weekend just gone. It was of course it's a private company now that own Crewe Diesel Depot.
Yes, because I got an invite to go from Hattons, sort of not as in a case of we'll get you through the door, free tickets, but just a case of the CEO of Hatton's dropped me a line just to see if I was going. But unfortunately, I was working on the Saturday. Was it both days?
Both days, yeah. They had, I think it was both days anyway. But they had quite a lot of decent stuff there. They actually dragged, you know how they've got one of the 91s off the East Coast Main Line. They've just put back in Intercity colours as new colours. And they dragged that there as well, which is first time in a long time that a 91's been back to Crewe. And they dragged that via the West Coast as well, through Preston.
Right.
And I didn't get out to get a photograph of it, so I'm a little bit annoyed.
Did you know it was coming through?
I did. Just wasn't able to get out to get a photo. So
I mean, I've got photographs from when I went and did the Crewe Open Day. It was just after, I think, the first Harry Potter film had come out. So the Hogwarts Express was there in the livery, fresh out of filming. That shows pretty much how long ago it was. Anyway, excuse me. So we've got... Oops, I just knocked the microphone there. We're drinking Stella Artois, reassuringly big bottles.
Yes. Pick these up nice and cheap from the shop over the road. Other brands are, of course, available. But yes, it's always nice to have a drink when we're doing this.
Yeah, because I've been doing the alcohol free for a few weeks, so this is nice. I like transport. Don't worry, I'm not going to mention GMRC 2. Oops, just did. All I'm going to say, watch Barnabas Junction's latest video. Was Jenny in the corner of the video? Who's Barnabas Junction?
Very good YouTube page. Very good YouTube page.
So, hold on. How am I in the corner of the video exactly?
Maybe they've shared a certain person's Twitter page, maybe?
I know Steve Flint has posted something from GMRC2.
Rather naughty, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm guessing that he must have had permission for that, so... Yes. Oh, we've got some... Andrew Emery, hello from Saudi Arabia.
Welcome.
Oh, hold on. Let's get the virtual map. Ding. So we've now got Saudi Arabia ticked off. Ned's Trains. Jenny, you're in the GMRC. Am I? Oh, my word. Wait, how did I get there? Did I get lost and make a wrong turning? I like transport. GMRC2 teaser. Steve Flint gave him the video. Yeah, Steve Flint's been posting that on Twitter. So we can't really deny it anymore. Yes, it was us.
Yes.
We were there. That's the super secret project, and that's all you're getting out of us.
You can't get anything else out of us on that one. Obviously, whenever you do anything like that, you have to sign non-disclosure forms, so you won't get any other information out of us. Yeah,
so Steve Flint posted that, not us. We were keeping stum. So I'm surprised that Steve Flint gave him the video. Does that mean that Steve Flint and Barnabas Junction, they're not one and the same person, are they? Wouldn't surprise me.
You never know.
Ned's Trains, no, we just talked about that. We didn't go to Crewe.
Yeah. Vincent Gazan.
Sean Millard.
From Florida. Welcome.
Sean Millard. Is it going to be on TV then? No, they're just filming for the hell of it.
Yeah. Apparently, they just thought they'd use snippets in adverts. Apparently. No, of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's planned that the final will be shown in time for the winning layout to be on display at Worley. So that gives you a kind of time frame. So whenever Worley is, I'm guessing the weekend before is when the final episode will go out, would be my guess.
Well, apparently, though, they're going to show this in August. Worley's not till next year.
No, Worley is late up. Worley's like November.
Is it?
Yeah, it's about November.
Is it that long since we went?
Yeah, something like that.
Right, because we went last year, didn't we?
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Yeah,
doesn't seem that long ago.
Jeff Hirsch, hi from my living room. Well,
Fair
hello
play.
To you. Hello to you from our studio.
And I like transport. Yeah, Worley's in November. My bad. Yeah, it really doesn't seem like that long ago since I was there.
Oh, Aaron Izzard. Oh, if we're taking off countries, I'm saying hi from Gibraltar. Let's get the virtual map out. Ding. Gibraltar's on there. Hey, we're doing really well.
Yeah,
actually.
We are.
Yeah. One of these days, I'll try and remember what I've ticked off because it's invisible. I can't see it. Zedmark Anthony, hello to you. Natalie Porter, good evening to you too. Anyway. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, DJ Models.
Yes.
They started quite well actually. When they first started, I think one of their first models, or at least the first model to be released in DJ Models packaging, was the BT Well Tank second run from Kerno Models. Now, that was a bit of an odd one because it was Daypol who released the first release. So Daypol did all the work on that. And I can only assume that Kerno owned the tooling and then they contracted DJ Models to do the second batch, but it's actually a Daypole model. But then they released the Hunslet Austerity, generally considered to be a reasonably good model. And the 14XX, they released that they did with Hattons. So they did get off to a good start, and then the wheels kind of fell off. And I think a lot of the problem was that he kept promising things that never got delivered. And then when you brought into the interplay the crowdfunding, I think he was making a rod for his own back, because you reached a point where there was a lot of people who were putting a lot of money in and never saw anything. And I know there was a lot of ill feeling happened with the 71, that a lot of people they were tied into the DJ Model 71, and then they'd already paid and committed. When Hornby announced theirs, then Hornby got theirs out. It was a good deal cheaper, and it was considered to be a good model. And there was a lot of issues with the DJ Model one, not quite getting a few bits and pieces right. And I think that, for me, that and the Q6 as well, that he announced the Raven Q6, and then Hornby announced it. I think he also announced the Adams Radial, and then that got cancelled. To be honest, a good thing to cancel it, because there's two other manufacturers doing something that's actually a very niche product. But unfortunately, I think the problem is he overstretched himself. He was announcing all these different models. I think he announced a Clayton Class 17 in N gauge and O gauge. The Austerity was supposed to come out in O gauge. And this is spreading yourself very, very thin. They reckon that it costs around £500,000 to bring a model from nothing to the market. And that's a lot of money investment. And when you're then multiplying that through by all these different models, I think it's the classic business move where you overcommit. And unfortunately, the DJ Models wagon has fallen apart. But there was an interesting press release which, in my opinion, it was unadvised to be quite so candid and point fingers at various other manufacturers and people. And I think that, that was where very much the writing was on the wall. You can't do that in a business world. You lose all credibility. But there was also, I've seen a lot of controversy being talked about online, that there was also an air that there was a large online forum that certainly back at the beginning were being a little bit too pro DJ Models. And there's even accusations, I don't know whether these are true or not, but I've seen accusations that CAD files were photoshopped to make them look more advanced than they actually were, and that criticism against DJ Models was heavily edited out from certain online media outlets, social media outlets like Fora, Facebook, that kind of thing. And that, in my mind, leaves a little bit of a nasty taste. You wonder what's going on. It's not how these things are supposed to work. And I think all of these have culminated in this perfect storm that's seen DJ Models go under. Now, are we going to see other manufacturers, other small manufacturers, struggle in the same way? Or is DJ Models very much the exception rather than the rule? I'd love to hear what other people think. But certainly there's a lot more small-scale manufacturers coming through. And are they taking this in a much more serious business-minded approach? Certainly I've not seen any other manufacturer promise model after model after model and not deliver, but it's still early days for some of these new manufacturers. By the same token, if you look at, for example, Hattons' releases, they don't brag about things that really are just at the research stage. They leave things till quite late on. Hornby does a little bit the same, and I think that's a much better way of doing it. True, you run the risk of another manufacturer jumping in and perhaps bringing out certainly announcing a model before you've even announced it to the world. And we've seen that, I think, with the Raven Q6 from Hornby, the Adams Radial from Hornby, although Oxford Rail did beat them to the market on that. Things like that. And I think that perhaps I prefer it when a manufacturer announces something pretty much as they've got something to release. So we saw the P-Class from Hattons, the Andrew Barclay from Hattons turn up very, very quickly after announcement because they were so far along. And in my view, that is a much, much safer way of producing these models, as long as nobody else jumps in and beats you to it. You know, I'm sure all these manufacturers kind of have an idea of what each of them is up to. You know,
they have the little spies. They must do.
I think people talk. You know,
it is still at the end of the day a small community, isn't it? So I reckon, I think they know. I don't think there's any true surprises out there. But let's just hope that the other smaller manufacturers don't struggle in the same way. The likes of Accuscale are doing some fantastic stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
I really can't wait for some of the stuff that they're making. The CAD designs for the Deltic that's been released as well. Fantastic, honestly. The detail is unbelievable.
Just pause you there a moment. Galaxy Media Group, got to go and edit my homework. Great live stream so far, by. Well, okay, you take care, and homework comes first. You got to get good grades in school because everything else is built on that. So you take care, and don't forget, everybody, that you can go back and watch this video later on if there's anything that you missed, or you want to recap, or you want to rewatch it, or just time shift and watch it at a more convenient time for you. The videos stay up on YouTube. Oh, excuse me, there's a lot of gas in this beer. But also you can catch up on all of the previous live streams. They're all still up there. And it's gone up off the top. But yes, we are doing GMRC2. That little secret has been blown by Steve Flint. So we're not really breaking the NDA. It's already out there in the public
domain. As long as we
domain.
don't actually discuss anything about it, we're perfectly fine. But yes.
Yeah. So that was us you saw in the red tops in the sneaky beaky trailer.
Even got my shaven shiny head there on the side of one of the photos. Yeah,
Brian was behind the glare that was coming off his bone dome there.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, I told you shouldn't have used pledge on that noggin.
I know, I was determined to mess him up with the light, and I think it works. I think I did rather well.
Josh Dawson, you sound like an advert. An advert for who exactly? Who am I advertising?
Is it for the polish for my head? Is that what it is?
Oh, yes. He's been down to Dome Depot and got some dome polish. Yeah.
But no, it's been a bit of an experience, but hence the reason why so busy. Anyone that's looked at my page, I do apologise. There's not been a video for a few weeks now. Simply because of the fact that we've been so busy, and the only live streams that I do is when I come here and join Jenny on hers.
Yeah.
So
we've got Dungerwood Model Railway. Hi in the evening. Very excited about the new peaks. Woo woo.
Yeah.
I thought I'd read that out before it disappeared off the top.
Definitely.
That is the other thing that we wanted to talk about. Heljan have announced in 00 an all-new tooled peak. This is just the Class 45, the different variants. They've got the 45Os, the 45-1s, and they've got, I think it's 4 different body styles, so they're, sort of pre and post various rebuilds. And this is going to be an all-singing, all-dancing model. Now, the Bachmann version that's already on the market, that's pretty much a warmed-over mainline model, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Or has it been fully retooled?
It hasn't been fully retooled on a few of them. I think one of them was, which would be the 44 or the 46. One of those was completely redone.
The 44 was new to Bachmann. That never came out.
Was that never a mainline one?
No, as far as I'm aware, the 45 definitely was a mainline model. I'm not even sure whether the 46 was.
I know you could previously get 46 ones, but I think it was a case of mainline just
was that a different
45s.
Yeah.
They didn't actually bother with the panels and stuff like that. So
yeah, that would be a bit like I don't know. Did Hornby never released their 25 as a 24-1? Did they? Did they ever release a 24-1 numbered version?
Do you know, it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me. I haven't seen one, but it wouldn't surprise me.
You're the expert in this area. Outwardly, how much difference is there between a 24-1 and a 25-0?
No idea. They got rid of them all before I even started. And from what I've seen from photographs and what have you,
I can't tell.
I can't tell the difference. I know that there will be, and I'm sure there's somebody out there that knows the answer that will quite happily tell us. But it's something I don't think I've ever actually really looked into that much. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, see, the 24, I can remember the first time I saw a picture of it. I think it's the skinhead look about it, which
Yeah.
something about that sort of skinhead front, which I really liked when the Bachmann model turned up. And I was only vaguely aware of the existence of the Class 24 at the time, because I wasn't well read on a lot of these things. But certainly, if you released a 24-1 or a 25-0 and just mixed and matched between the numbers, I don't think I'd tell the difference.
No.
But then again, I wouldn't have told the difference between a Class 4 and a Class 3 until it was pointed out, and then it's pretty glaringly obvious.
Yeah. Aaron, is that a question for us both? What did we grow up with? Triang, Hornby, Double Wren. I know for me it was definitely Triang.
Oh, I was Hornby 00 all the way.
Yeah. So a big difference.
Yeah, I was Hornby 00 because that's what my father had. So when his model railway came out the loft and he got to play with it under the auspices of basically showing me how it worked, that was the way we went. And at the time, Hornby 00 was really cheap and plentiful second-hand. In fact, so much so that I can remember that one of the main reasons we stuck with 3-rail was because you could buy the mainline tender locos second-hand for Hornby 00 for probably less than a quarter of what brand new Hornby locos went for. And my father was adamant that they were a better quality model, and actually they were. Sean Millard, I can't wait to get the Coca-Cola wagons. This is something that was in the Hornby announcements, the Coca-Cola themed set. I think that's one that...
Oh, right, yeah, I remember seeing this. Yeah.
I think things like that are actually very good for getting new people into the hobby, the younger generation. So whilst it's not something that I would go for, I think it was nice to see stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, they're not neglecting the toy end of the market. Let's have a look. I like transport. I built a super quick engine shed kit today. It will go on my heritage line. Well done. Yeah, some of the super quick buildings, they've been around a long time, but actually I do quite like the super quick buildings. Not necessarily the easiest to build at times, but I actually prefer them to the Metcalfe models. And I couldn't put my finger on it why, but I do really have a soft spot for the super quick buildings, and certainly some of them are very, very useful for kit bashing. The Terminus Station kit is one of my favourite for kit bashing. I've used that extensively on Grove Street Yard, but you would struggle to probably recognise a lot of it where it's been reused. Starman, hold on, I have somebody on the phone. Brian, just hold down the
Not
fort.
a problem.
Hello?
So, yes, for me, definitely Triang. I grew up with the burning smell of Triang 08s and 37s, 31s. And I have to say, the old Triang 08, I tried desperately to destroy mine. And it took a very long time, it has to be said. And then after that, a few Hornby locos, but actually then went on to a couple of Wren locos after that. So that's pretty much how I started. I had them for Wren Class 20s. They used to be quite rare, and they used to cost a lot more than they do now. But now, of course, they're pretty cheap now. Big lumps of metal that they are. But great at the time. So let's have a look and see what we've got. Nice to hear you grew up in the 60s and 70s. Triang, yeah. I know, let's face it, I mean, back in the day, they were pretty good. James Hardy, have you been watching the programme on North Yorkshire Moors? I certainly have. Even though I'm not really a steam fan, I'm more of a modern image, diesel and electric fan. It's a fantastic programme. I do like that. And I love the fact that they keep calling him the Fat Controller, even though, he really hates it. Very good. Okay, let's have a look. Growler. Yeah, the Growler, Blackwood Engage layout. Saw your update the other day. Fantastic. Keep up the good work. It's a really nice layout that you've done, and I really do like that. So, fantastic. You see, first train was Triang Hornby Freightmaster. Oh, yeah, with a 31 on it. Yeah, those Triang 31s were absolutely bloody awful. But I had a few of them myself. So yeah, Dungewood, Batman did a limited edition for Model Zone Sealed Beam. Looking at the prices of what they're going to charge for these, I actually think, to be honest with you, the price isn't going to be too bad. I know that obviously the previous models have had the faults and things. This is a completely new model. Let's just hope that it lives up to the expectations, because for me, looking at the CAD designs and what have you, I honestly do think that they're going to be quite good. So, fingers crossed. Let's have a look. I like transport. I also built a Pico. Oh, yeah, that diesel depot kit's actually quite nice. I've built one of those myself previously. Not bad at all. Let's have a look and see. Yeah, Josh, HSTs all the way. I know. Do you know something? Re-engineering of HSTs. I actually quite like the new sounds that they've been making, as well as the originals. They're not as good, but they still got their own character to them and things like that. And everyone's going mad at the moment of HSTs leaving the Great Western out Paddington, and it's a sorry sight and everything. And of course now the Intercity Celebrity Liveried one is now going to store as well. So that's a sad day that happened the other day. But they're not a locomotive that's going to disappear. They have many uses. So, yeah, and for some deal like myself with 53,000 miles behind HST power cars, been there, done that. So, yeah, they will carry on. Let's have a look. BR Black Terrier production. What would you prefer, Class 22 or the 37? Well, for me, it'd be a 37 any day of the week, because that's what I do. I'm a Class 37 fan. I think for Jenny, she'd probably say the 22. I think that's that's a given must, that I think. Which one's the one? Was it Hornby have done the 29? Was it, the really rubbish design one that's been going along for quite a long time? I think, the 22, it's actually quite nice looking loco. So I'd be interested to see that one myself. Transport, you've heard bad things about Heljan. Well, we all have. Anybody who's ever owned a Heljan loco knows the problems with Heljan. Basically, nothing stays attached to the loco for very long. Second-hand Heljan locos are a bit hit and miss when you buy them, because to keep them in one piece all the time and in tip-top condition, you do kind of end up having to super glue parts on them. Shouldn't have to, really. But unfortunately with Heljan, it's something they've never quite gotten right. However, the locos themselves are fantastic. If you get the right loco, that is anyway. I've had a 33 and a 58 that I sold recently. The 58 was absolutely perfect. By the time it got to the person who bought it, there was an issue with it. So I wasn't really amused with that, because that was brand new when I bought it. It had been run twice. 33 that I had, I got off Jenny, and it cost me more in trying to get it running than actually what I actually paid for it in the first place. So I don't think I'll be having another 33. Definitely not. But there is some quite nice locos that they have done, so don't give up on them just yet. Let's have a look. Mess removing numbers. I don't know, you can see my t-shirt actually. Any Breaking Bad fans out there? Walter White? Yeah. Not in any way advocating the use or the manufacture of methamphetamine, of course, but I do like my joke t-shirts. But yes, removing numbers from old Lima locos. Sorry, I did notice the question, but Jenny was talking at the time. I have to admit, it was something I was never particularly good at. I always got somebody else to do that for me with renumbering, especially with Lima ones. Depending on the age of them, of course. Some of them would have slightly offset numbers with a little bit of a ridge around them at times with some of the cheaper stuff that they made. So you do have to be careful with them, and just be warning, of course, that the paint below doesn't come off at the same time. So bit at a time. Let's have a look. Anything steam related, you'll have to wait for Jenny, because I don't actually know that much about steam. It's a personal choice. Just never really interests me in the slightest. Each to their own. Let's have a look. Are you going to Midland Railway Gala? I'm hoping to, Mark. I'm really hoping to. I went to the gala last year with 6100 and the 66. Enjoyed it a lot, so I'm hoping to get back to it this year. However, it does rely on me actually being able to get a lift for that one. I know you can get the bus out there and what have you, but it's a bit of messing about, and I suffer with my health quite a fair bit. So it depends if I can bribe somebody to drive, and any offers on picking me up and Preston on the way through, let me know. Let's have a look. Flymo German's in. Hello. I must have missed you coming in. All the stresses of live stream tonight. I'm unpacking my models this week, apart from a Terrier Class 25 A4 that's sitting out. Okay. Stresses of live streaming. Actually, if we've missed the fact that you also live stream, I do apologise. Let's have a look. Piccadilly Model Railway by John Warner. Hi. How are you doing? No, I'm not on my Todd. It's just that Jenny's on the phone to a friend of ours that's involved with different projects that we've been doing and things like that. So she's been waiting on the phone call. So it's rather an important one. Hence the reason why she's taken it into the other room. So yeah, BR Black Terrier Productions. Me and my dad are completely different. He's die-hard diesel fan. In the middle. Yeah, I find this a lot, especially between myself and Jenny, when we're talking about things. Jenny is actually younger than me, and the models that she likes are a lot older than the ones that I do, so it makes it interesting.
Sorry, I'm just going in there. I needed a memory card. I forgot to pick up earlier.
No problem.
Hello.
See ya. So, the Growler next big exhibition is Perth, apparently being opened by... Oh, okay, yeah. Actually, yeah, Perth is a lovely place. It's been a few years since I've been there, actually, to be honest. But yeah, lovely place. Brake fluid, Grandad Choo Choo. Oh, careful with that stuff. Yeah, I tried that once. I'm not exactly great at these things myself, and it was a long time ago, but I learned my lesson very, very quickly with using brake fluid. It can work wonders on stuff, but it will strip everything if you're not careful. So, word of warning, unless you know what you're doing, watch as many YouTube videos on that as possible, just to make sure. Train Sport in South East, not a problem, pal. Good to see you again, mate. Oh yeah, Mark, the pictures of the new pink 66. Do you know, I have to say, it doesn't look that bad. I heard the rumours about this new paint job, and all I could think of was that is just going to be horrendous. But actually, no, saw a picture of it tonight. It's probably the same picture going around Facebook that everyone else has seen. And actually, yeah, the magenta stroke pink colour that it's got on it, I actually do think it looks quite nice. So yeah, I'm a fan of that one. Let's have a look. Philip Page. You were at Office Dyke Model Railway Show. Is that the right way to pronounce that, Office? I might be wrong on that. It's Welshpool, I know, yeah. I might be pronouncing that completely wrong. But yeah, and how was it? Was it a good show? I do need to get around to quite a few more of these shows myself. There's been quite a few that I've missed so far this year. Hopefully next year we should, with a bit of luck, have a full programme because of what we've been doing. So yeah, that would be quite nice. It'd also be good as well to get out and meet quite a few more of you in person as well for different shows that you go to. Ian Hilpus, I'm curious about Class 40s as why they have the buff beam attached. Right, well, several different ways I've had this explained to me, but because of the weight on the axles and having the pony truck wheel on the end, because of that makes it more safe, if you know what I mean. There's so much movement in there that apparently it's for clearance purposes. It's also extra weight keeps that axle down as well. There's probably about another 70 other reasons, but yeah, it looks better as well, let's face it. Although in model form makes it an absolute pain to run over certain point work. Transport in South East, Jenny is currently in the next room on an important phone call. So trust me, it's not just me. She will be back shortly. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, Growler. There has been quite a few kits of things like the Class 303. I'm kind of, yeah, I'm kind of at the moment in two minds about getting a kit 319 made up in a 4-car in the latest Northern colours and sound fitting it. It's just getting round to having the money to pay for it is the problem. All in all, with the paint job and the DCC fitting, chipping, probably looking at about 600 quid's worth by the time it's done. Okay, Piccadilly Model Railway. Yeah, saw the video of Steve Flint tonight. Yeah, Jenny was on there. So was I, on the back of the board, leaning over in the pictures. Yeah, we were there.
It's interesting, actually. I've just been talking to somebody about that, and there's a lot of surprise about that video appearing online for reasons that I'm not going to mention, because if you haven't noticed, then I'm not going to highlight it. But
yeah,
my personal opinion is that I think he's posted too much. You know, he should have just left it for Channel 5 to do their thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, I can only assume that he's got permission to do that, so production company must be happy with it. So, it's not our business to second guess them.
Exactly. We're gonna basically not give anything else away and stick to what we've been told, basically. And of course, it's not that long until you all find out everything anyway. So, like transport. For me, do I know what an Optare Metro City is? Unfortunately, I do.
I know the name Optare because they make buses.
They make buses indeed, and the Metro City is, yeah. Optare don't really make very good buses, but they do make buses.
Anyway, what have I missed?
Me rambling on more than anything else.
Yeah.
I'm making excuses for your absence, of course.
Right. Hey there, people. I got this. Don't worry. Normal service is being resumed.
Charming, that is.
Jeffish, I thought you'd gone up in the loft, Jenny, to play trains. No, actually, but funnily enough, it gives me ample opportunity to talk about the loft layout. It's coming along great, and there's going to be regular Friday updates, even whilst we're away on top secret project stuff, which, you know, as you've already seen the layout tour, you've probably guessed by now the reason that the layout tour went out was because we were away in Reading that week. So at the moment, yeah, there's still things going on, actually. I filmed an update on the loft layout, which will be going up on Friday. And there's also, I've then, subsequent to filming that, I built a load more. So there's plenty for next week as well. So that's all going together nicely. And I'm finally getting onto that really awkward to access corner. I'm starting to bully some semblance of order into that. So hopefully that's going to look quite good when I'm done. I've got some plans to do it quite simply. And I think, you know, what this brings home is that model railways, certainly big ones, constantly evolve. And when you build things initially, doesn't mean that they're going to be like that for 20 years to come. And certainly I envisage that there will be areas of weir yard in the loft that I will redevelop over time. You know, I will improve the scenery, I will add more to it. And with a layout that size, there's always plenty of scope to do that. You know, in terms of ripping out track and scenery, that's not going to happen. I don't envisage that. But certainly in terms of sorting out scenery, making it better, more interesting, then that is going to be an ongoing thing. What else have we got going on? Transporting South East, where's my beer? Your beer is in the shop. You have to go and get it. Sturman A1X, question for Jenny. Thompson B1 versus Black 5. Actually, I'd say Thompson B1 myself. I do quite like the B1. And I know that our partner in crime, Simon, would also agree with that. He's very much a fan of the Thompson locomotives. But actually, that's a bit of a Hobson's choice for me. That neither of them are particularly my favourite, but if I had to choose between them, I'd go for the B1. Alan Pollock. Hello from Scotland. Well, hello to you too. And Morris Godfrey. Hi from Namibia. Did you find me on the map just left of South Africa? Yeah, actually we did. When you mentioned Namibia last time, we got the invisible map out and we ticked that one off. So, we do. I don't think there's that many countries left to do. There's probably, Liechtenstein. If we had our Andorra or Uzbekistan. Have we had anybody from Uzbekistan? I don't think we have.
I don't think we have. No. Not yet.
Yeah,
Not yet.
or I don't know. Have we had Morocco?
That's it. I think there's still a few European countries.
Yeah, here we are in Morocco. Fire up the bong. So, Grandad Choo Choo, Black 5, any day. Yeah, I know they have quite a good loyal following. Good evening to you, Anthony, Strathmore Road Junction, and I like transport. Who likes transport for Wales? It's new livery.
I do.
Yeah, this is his department.
Yeah, this is my department. I actually quite like it simply because of the fact that there's so much they could adapt to improve it with the different funky advertising that different Welsh areas tend to chuck out every now and again. So I quite like it for that reason. It's a nice base colour. So yeah, I quite like that. Also, let's have a look. What was it that was asked? There was something else. That was it. It was the kit for the 303. I'm pretty sure that DC Kits used to do it. Whether or not they still do or not, I'm not entirely sure. But I know that you can still get the kit for the 304, 305, 308. So you should still be able to get hold of the 303 one as well because it came from the same manufacturer. And I'm pretty sure it was DC Kits.
Statement A1X Jenny, feel free to take Eastbourne off your map as well. Well, let's just zoom in there on the UK. We move down to the south coast and let's have a look. We've got Littlehampton, Hastings, Bath. Oh, there we go. There we are. Ticking off Eastbourne. Right, there we are. And then we'll just zoom back out. The world. Right, anyway, we'll move the invisible map. Oh, it's got stuck. Oh, I think we've broken it. Some of the pins fell out. Grandad Choo Choo, Uzbekistan. Yeah, somewhere near Azerbaijan, isn't it? And it's all the Stans. There's a lot of people called Stan who have country. Actually, now I do know that Stan means land in is it Arabic? Something like that.
I'm not entirely sure. There's so many of those little tiny countries around there as well.
Like Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan.
Never even heard of that last one.
Tajikistan.
Yeah.
It used to be part of the USSR. I think a lot of them used to be part of USSR. They're all around that little area. Now, if we bring the map back and we move over to the Middle East and then move up a little bit, we've got Russia here, and below Russia there's lots of little stands. Yeah, Grandad Choo Choo, Stan who? I don't know, but he invested a lot in land. Maurice Godfrey, well done. I bought all my train set model railway from the UK, 30-odd boxes. Customs thought the model trees were pot. But that's another story. One day I will make my boy. Actually it's interesting because a friend of ours from Sweden, he didn't want to take any model railway related stuff back because he had visions that bags of static grass. You can just imagine the customs guy at Malmo Airport. Oh, so what have you brought back? I can't do a lot of accents. They just come out like Apu from the Quickie Mart. BR Black Terrier Productions, tick Devon off. I just
fair dues.
Bring the map back.
Okay.
There it is. There we go. Right, we've got Devon ticked. Yeah, James Hardy, Thompson hated Gresley. Yeah, there was a lot of that sort of went on. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, there's a lot of different versions of the Class 45 coming through from Heljan. I will stick on topic if it's the last thing I do. But actually, you've got Heljan have got you covered with some limited editions from, I'm working off memory here, Rails and Kerno. Now, Rails have ordered up 2 different limited editions, and Kerno the one. So there's those 3, plus I think there's about 8 or 9 other 45s, quite a few different in tops numbers, but you've also got pre-tops blue, I think it's number 67, and then a number in green liveries as well.
What I'm excited for though has got to be Sherwood Forester.
Okay.
Definitely. For me,
Why?
It'd be that one. Simply because it's one of them 45s that's survived into preservation that I've seen the most travel on the most and things like that. 45060.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right. Oh, has it ever been out in model form before? It must have been preserved.
Yeah. But I've never had any reason to actually go and buy a Class 45 model before. But new shiny toy and all that. Of course you're going to.
Ham Shackleton, evening folks, bit damp tonight. Yes, damp.
It is indeed. Welcome.
It's moist. Yes. Oh, that's right, darling. Moist. What a dirty word. Write that down. We should use that more often in everyday conversation. Moist. Right. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch. By the way, it's pretty good. This bit of the old Stella Artois, reassuringly strong, reassuringly going straight to my head. Anyway. And the real Sherwood Forest was in the Crewe Open Day last weekend.
That's what I mean. It gets about a fair bit.
It does.
Yeah, exactly.
Josh Dawson, behave, Brian.
I'm always behaving.
Yeah, right. Sorry, Josh. Do you need me to spank this one's bottom? Hey, no, wait a minute. That sounded better in my head.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you don't want to be saying things like that. Anyway,
right.
So Don Juan, hi as well. Yeah, from Bolton upon Dearne. Yeah. I've been through there.
Where?
Near Barnsley, Bolton upon Dearne. Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's near Wath upon Dearne, where the Wath Marshalling Yard used to be.
It is indeed, yeah.
Which was last time I went through there. There was a bridge left but no railway. It was very, very sad to look at, and it didn't look like it had been that long since the railway was pulled up, because you could still see all the ballast. I think it's been redeveloped as a housing estate, as these things do. Which is a great shame, because once you lose this infrastructure, you're never going to get it back. Usually because there's like 200 people's houses in the way.
Mark Wilson, what do you think about the German reenactors being banned from the North Yorkshire Moors Railway? I was disgusted with that.
Oh, sorry, back this train up.
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
Well, this is about the war weekend that takes place on the North Yorkshire Moors. This is about the TV programme that's being aired at the moment.
Oh, right, okay.
And they do the whole war reenactment weekend, and of course they take it quite seriously up there. The whole town gets involved, and it's fantastic. And up at Levisham, for past like 20 years or something, the German reenactors have taken over the station. It's become occupied German territory kind of thing, and they've done a really good job on it.
So it's all like "Don't Tell Him" Pike sort of thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, the German reenactors, they do take it very, very seriously, and they do a really good job as well. And basically, somebody's decided that it's not PC and they shouldn't be doing it. Basically, they shouldn't be allowing the German reenactors there.
Why?
And it's like, I'm not being funny, but this is PC gone mad.
That's the thing, is that they're not glorifying the Nazis. It's reenactment of what happened.
Exactly.
So it's living history, and I think to censor it is it's like saying that the war never happened.
Exactly.
And I think that is fundamentally wrong. And the fact, they've been doing it for 20 years. Why now?
Yeah.
If you had a thing about it, why didn't you complain 20 years ago when they started? It does smack of somebody's decided that, like, oh, good, I can be offended. Yeah. And unfortunately, we see that more and more. It seems to be this air that people revel in pretending to be offended just so that they can impose their will on other people. It's a power trip thing.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, this is when I was volunteering at East Lancs, and they used to come there for their war weekend as well, and it was nothing was kind of out of place or in any way kind of there to offend anybody. Everything was quite tastefully done and everything, and there was a reason for being there. They do their own little reenactments between them with little battles and things like that, and it's to me it just seems a complete shame to deny them that job that they've been doing for so long.
Yeah, so Leslie Gilpin discovered yesterday that these railway YouTube channels are adult and restricted. Which ones in particular? I must admit, I've had a few issues when I do the live streams. Straight after the live stream, when the video goes up, it says restricted content may contain adult themes. And I'm not quite sure why model railways are getting flagged as adult themes. I don't know what that is about. Although what I do know is that the latest little issue that happened at YouTube. You know, we've had all of these. Who was that idiot who went and filmed the suicide in the forest?
Oh God, yeah.
Was it
PewDiePie
or was it somebody else?
Oh, I can't remember his name now, but yeah, it wasn't the fact that he filmed it; it was the fact that he laughed at it when he was doing so.
Well, it's the fact that he put it up. I mean, at the end of the day, it's founded body hanging, and the fact that he put this on his YouTube channel, and he went and ruined it for all the little people, because the big people never get censored. But what happens is that YouTube decides that the best way to react to this when advertisers start pulling ad revenue is to go and stomp all over the little people, the people who were doing nothing wrong. And unfortunately, I'm getting the impression that it's not so much model railways that are getting hit, but live streamers. Because I've also heard that there's a group of weirdos who've been doing live streams, and they basically, it's like kiddie porn is what they've been using the live stream for. And of course, then YouTube, instead of dealing with the idiots, they just this blanket thing and go, oh, that'll sort it because we're too bone idle to actually do it properly. And, the little people get shafted. Yeah. Let's have a look. Leslie Gilpin, Tesco Mobile. So this isn't necessarily YouTube, but Tesco Mobile blocks me from all the channels I subscribe to.
Yeah, you just get in touch with Tesco Mobile, and basically it's got a parental block on it. The same thing happens with when I change my contract with my phone, and it instantly blocks it because the preset beforehand to do so, and then every now and again it kicks in.
See, that would irritate the hell out of me. It'd be like, it's like, do you mind? I'm 40. I think I can decide what I can and can't watch. Don't patronise me. And I have it so it can be turned on, but not have it on by default. That just smacks of nanny state. I don't know about the rest of you, but I hate being patronised. People who try and patronise me, I just really hate them. Let me just get this bonnet off. I think there's a bee trapped inside it.
That almost sounded Scouse when you said that, then.
Kenny, if you can hear me, mate, get back in the car. Sorry to any Scousers out there. Love you. I was like, let's have a look. What have we got? Russell Benton. For your tummy, the German foreplay is over. So, where is the author? What is your name? Don't tell him, Pike. Pike, your name is going in the book. Anyway, shall we move on from that?
Yeah, I apologise if there's any Germans in the house.
I think Germans generally have quite a good sense of humour. They're not plagued by these PC numpties.
Matt Wilson, why did some early 37s have odd-looking side-load buffer beams? You mean when they had the buffers where basically the bottom corner used to come around over the buffer on the original design? Basically, that was just aesthetic, and then as time went on, they used to crack parts of the body shell, those actual corner pieces of the skirt used to then crack, and it was causing a lot of damage, because if you can imagine the amount of weight being smacked into those buffers from freight trains, it was basically causing problems, so they in the end just took them all off. But only for aesthetic purposes only was the actual buffers themselves, the buffer heads, encased with inside the skirt.
So, Trainsporting Southeast at Bluebell Railway top brass thought good idea to can the war weekend, because 2 people complained about it. I loved it. I have Royal Armoured Corps officer uniform and sidearm. Well, it's funny actually, because I've got quite a few uniforms. I got a bit big for them, but I've got some proper old school Wren's uniforms and Women's Royal Army Corps. That was a funny little sideways look there.
No,
you're like, I didn't know you.
And
had
you've also got the your rifle as well.
Oh yeah, I've got a Lee Enfield rifle. In fact, it's interesting all of itself. I found out the other day that any weapons deactivated before 2016, which includes mine, now, thanks to a European Union directive, they're now illegal to sell, gift, or in any way change hands from the current owners without going through a very expensive process to get them checked over and deactivated to the current standards. Now, My Lee Enfield rifle, it is physically impossible for it to be reactivated, and the reason for this is because, amongst other things, the end of the bolt has been cut at a slant, firing pin's gone, and most importantly, inside the barrel is a solid steel rod that's probably about this long, so quite long. And what they've done is they've dismantled the weapon. They've then heated up the barrel so it expands slightly, and probably dipped the core in something like liquid nitrogen to make it contract, and then slid that inside. So then when they come back to room temperature, there's a solid steel core that is like, it's never going to shift. There is no way that you can get that back out of the barrel. The barrel is scrap. So, you know, it is as thoroughly deactivated.
Good luck trying to fire that.
No, you can't even chamber a round. You can chamber an empty cartridge, but you can't chamber a round because the actual bullet head goes in too far and it hits this metal plug. So there's no danger of that getting reactivated, and yet that weapon, I cannot give it away, I cannot sell it, and unless I go through a very expensive process. And I think that this is a poorly thought out European directive, which actually is more likely to see an awful lot of historical artifacts just end up getting destroyed or junked, which I think is fundamentally wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leslie Gilpin saw that on Antiques Roadshow last night. Yeah, something about there was the Vickers machine gun that the guy had bought for £1,000, and they said it was worthless because you couldn't sell it. And, you know, these are historical artifacts. You know, would we really demand that a Rembrandt must be touched up with non-oil based paints before it can be sold? No, we wouldn't. You know, would we demand that a National Trust house has to have all of its guts ripped out because, oh, this wood could be flammable, and, you know, oh, there might be asbestos hidden away safely where it can't be disturbed. We must rip all this out. No, we wouldn't. So why are historical firearms anything different? You know, and I think it's poorly thought out. And like so many of these things, it's what happens when you get politicians who don't really consider the full implications of what they're bringing in. Then you get knee-jerk legislation, and they were probably more thinking about more modern firearms that people might have on display, and unfortunately thhistorical firearms have just got all like wrapped up in this because there's no exemption for those kind of things. Ham Shackleton, you have Wren's uniform? Were you a Wren? No, I was not a Wren. I fired a Lee Enfield 303. So have I. But no, I wasn't a Wren. There's a long and convoluted story. I've got about 8 or 9 Wren's uniforms, and it's because they were being cleared out of the stores that they were in. And what actually happened with a lot of the Wren's uniforms was when the Royal Navy finished with them in about 1990, they got cascaded into the Sea Cadets, who continued with what was effectively the Wren's uniform right through till about 2002, when they then followed the way the Navy went and everybody went into this horrible generic square rig. And at that point, the Sea Cadet unit, which I used to be a member of and then came back in as staff, you know, they just hoard stuff, and they came to clear out their uniform stores, and they were going to skip all this stuff, and there was nothing wrong with it. So me being me, it's like, oh, I'll have some of that. So I ended up with about 8 Wren's uniforms.
It's a piece of history, though, isn't it? It's a shame to see.
It is, because where else would you get them from?
Yeah.
They're not the easiest of things to find. You don't tend to find them in military surplus shops. So that's how I've got all these Wren's uniforms. And yes, they used to fit. No, they don't fit very well anymore. I can occasionally be seen wearing a Wren's jacket with no insignia on. Indeed, at the second day, Ali Pali, the jacket I am wearing when I did the Hattons interview is actually a Wren's jacket, but I couldn't fasten it up. I just, you know, make a fashion statement. They're just incredibly well-tailored jackets. Anyway, Lee Phillipson, first-time caller, long-time listener.
Welcome.
welcome to you. I know there's a lot of people do lurk on the channel. Whilst you chat away, I'm curious how many people are online at the moment.
Fair dues.
Yeah.
T-Bone, okay. Where she's drawn the line when it comes to locomotive restoration, what point? Yeah, I know, building of new locomotives. This is something which I do understand, and I think that it's got its merits, but I'm not entirely convinced by it myself. I am interested about the LMS project to rebuild the 10,000. I think that would be a nice plan and everything, considering the fact that one of those two was actually almost preserved. However,
96 people, by the way. Just
that's good.
96 of you watching at the moment. Good to see you all. We're doing really well.
I have to say, though, to be honest with you, that I think that my own personal point of view, especially when it comes to all the trouble that it's caused and how much money it's cost, and the fact that I'm not really a Steam fan, I'm not really kind of overly keen on the idea of the likes of Tornado being built. I can understand everything about why it was built and everything, and I think that yes, okay, to an extent, but the cost of it means then that it then has to go mainline then to try and get the money back.
Well, how much did Tornado cost?
A lot of money, and it costs even more money to keep it running every year. That's kind of the problem. But having said that,
just bear in mind though, being a new build locomotive, it does incorporate several things that the originals never had. So, for example, roller bearings, different slight design on the boiler, draft pipe, things like that. So it has been updated, although from the outside you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
So, excuse me, in terms of the cost of running it on the main line, it's a lot less than if, say, you tried to put an original A1, had one survive, back on the main line.
However, that then, which I think is part of the point, the question that's been made, is where you draw the line. Because obviously when it comes to a steam engine, you're not making it actually like the original. It actually becomes more aesthetic that it looks like the original rather than the actual build itself. And I think that's something which you could debate about for weeks on end, and you'd never get everybody to agree to it. Well, I think Tornado is a beautiful loco. I think they did rather well with it. However, my personal choice, I think it's more about recreating classes that didn't survive, iconic classes. Yeah.
And the A1 was one of those iconic classes.
Oh, agreed.
And so, for example, when you go to the Bluebell Railway, they're building a modern Beachy Head. Now, the Beachy Head was a Brighton Atlantic, which they tried to buy, I believe, back in the 1960s. It was at one point put aside for the Bluebell Railway to get first dibs on, and for whatever reason it ended up getting cut up. So it's a locomotive that ran and in preservation, and it's a very iconic looking loco. Bachmann have done the model. It's a beautiful model. So things like that I think is a really good way of getting back the ones which got away.
But having said that, I'm also a little bit cautious as well about the diesel rebuilds as well.
How authentic to the original really are they? I mean, that 23, is it?
Yeah,
they're building from
the
a
Baby
37?
Deltic. Nah, it does look good, and yes, I'm curious to see what it's going to be like when it's done, and I wish them all the best with it. They've done so much hard work with it, but at the same time, I'm kind of on the sidelines a little bit here, because at the same time they also cut one of my favourite 37s to make it.
The Growler Blackwood N-gauge layout going to dip out to finish off the last bit of ballasting on Blackwood N-gauge layout. Oh, cheers, guys and gals. Well, that also I can shoehorn. Let's get the old shoehorn and the big tub of grease.
Keep up the good work, because seriously, the station is coming along fantastic.
Yeah.
The update was brilliant. Keep up the good work on that.
And ballasting is, I've done a video, in fact I've done 2 videos over the years. There's an old video on how to ballast, but I've done a new one on how to speed ballast on a model railway. And I think a lot of people kind of find themselves getting put off by doing ballasting. It's almost like people see it as some kind of black art that's really difficult, and it's not.
It's just practice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And if you go and watch my video on how to speed lay ballast on a model railway like a pro, because YouTube likes that tagline, like a pro, you'll see it's actually pretty easy to do, and you shouldn't be afraid of doing ballasting. It's something which I don't mind doing it, and I've done a lot up in the loft, and I've done a lot on other projects, and it's quite easy to get right. It's not difficult. So certainly, if you're putting off doing ballasting, not the growler, because obviously you're getting yours done, but anybody else who's putting off ballasting, don't be afraid of it, and it adds so much to a model railway. I do think that getting your track to look right, it doesn't have to be difficult, and it does add a lot of play value to a layout. Makes it look good. Right, what else have we got? PR Black Terrier Productions. Is it just me, but I want Stepney to run again? I think Stepney's got cracked frames, or possibly a cracked cylinder block.
I think it was just mentioned, actually, that Stepney, is it Transporting South East? Was it yourself that mentioned it? I might be wrong, that it needs a new boiler.
Yeah, and I think the thing about Stepney is that there are quite a few preserved terriers, so it's not like it's the only one. So, yeah, it'd probably be nice to see it running again, but if it's not running and it just becomes something in the museum to look at, just restored aesthetically, it's not the end of the world, because there are still other terriers running.
Can I just shock you here and say something?
What, do you know what a terrier is?
Well, I do know what a terrier is, anyway.
I don't mean the little dog with the...
No, I actually do. When it comes to a few steam, I do know a little bit. But I'm actually going to agree with somebody here about a steam train.
Which one?
Duchess of Hamilton back on the main line. That's what I'm agreeing with. I actually like the Duchess, and
with the air smoothing casing. Yeah,
well, the thing is, the streamlined edition of it is something of which when I was growing up, it didn't have that when it was doing all the rail tours up and down the Settle and Carlisle. My dad used to be at Signalman at Settle Junction. He used to live in Hellifield, have a shop and a cafe, and I used to spend my summer holidays up there, and all the rail tours every weekend. You could guarantee Duchess of Hamilton would be one of them. And actually, I have a bit of a soft spot for that steam engine, actually, to be honest.
There is a model available, a really decent model.
There is. Yeah.
So, there's nothing stopping you from it. Well, I say nothing stopping you. About 180 quid you'd have to drop, plus the sound chip.
But that's nothing compared to how much I spend on modern image stuff.
So
modern image stuff cost about...
Would you consider having that for a rail tour?
I would. I actually would.
And would you get the TTS chip in it? You would, because you'd fit sound to a toaster.
Yeah, I would, yes, definitely. So, there you go. There's a first right here. Me agreeing with somebody about a steam train in a good way.
That's an interesting point there, Charles Curtis. One thing I think about is, what point does an original locomotive cease being original after too many parts have been replaced and it becomes like Trigger's broom?
Well,
now, it's an interesting thing, actually, because this happens a lot in classic aircraft restoration. And it's like the dirty little secret I've been told from a friend of mine.
There is a law behind this as to when it actually stops being the original.
I thought it has to contain one part that's original.
It's actually the base frame itself, the chassis, the actual. Say if it's a diesel locomotive, it's really easy, and that is basically its surrounding frame on the underneath that everything is attached to. When it comes to a steam train, I'm not entirely sure how they work that one out.
I think it's the frames. It is the frame.
Yeah.
But saying that, you can replace parts of the frame. If they crack, you can replace them.
You can, but it's a little bit like boiler repairs. They've got to be able to take a certain amount of pressure and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
It is so strict on how you can do that.
Yeah.
And with diesel locomotives in this country, the law still states that once that frame is damaged beyond, I think it's 6 mil, it's gone. No matter what it is.
But can I say, though, that to go back to the aircraft world, a friend of mine's quite big in the aircraft restoration world, and he says it's the dirty little secret of rebuilding things like Spitfires and Hurricanes, that they'll have like a crashed example and they will rebuild it. And actually, this is the only original part, is there will be one token original part, and actually the entirety of the old plane disappears out the back in a scrap skip. And it's the secret that they don't want you to know about, because actually you could reassemble all the scrap bits as like a gate guardian, and nobody would be any the wiser.
See, that's an interesting comment there. So, missing a few comments here, but just to pick up on that, Hamshatson at the bottom there, Scotty has completely new frames. Yeah, it is very true. Flying Scotsman isn't actually, strictly speaking, Flying Scotsman anymore.
So what did they do with all the bits they took off? Have they got them in store? They could just reassemble them into something they can put into the Great Hall at York and have done with it.
No idea. There's definitely a lot of cheating going on when it comes to steam trains. But having said that, I can kind of understand why they've kind of like let those things go when it comes to steam trains. I just wish they'd do it with diesel and electric locos occasionally.
James Hardy, do you think the American A4s should come back to the UK? I don't think that this is a big issue. In some respects, it's flying the flag for British Railways abroad.
Yeah.
And there are A4s still in the UK, and as the Great Gathering showed, that it's not impossible for them to come back on tour. I don't think that they should come back. You could then start to argue, should the Shinkansen that's in the National Railway Museum go back to Japan? The QJ that they've got, should that go back to China? And I'm sure that there's other American locomotives.
Nîmes Valley Depot would be empty, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Nîmes Valley Railway, they have locomotives from all over.
Germany, Italy, all over, yeah.
Yeah, Finland, I think they've got Norwegian ones, all sorts. Should these locomotives go back as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that there are people in those countries that probably feel the same way that you do, about locos from their country going back. But, it's... I get what you mean, of course. People want to see these A4s back over here because, let's face it, British built and everything.
Well, there's 6 surviving and 4 are still in the UK. Yeah. And, it has to be said that those 2 that went to, I think it's 1 in Canada, 1 in America, they would have been cut for scrap if they hadn't been accepted by those railroad museums. And indeed, what should be remembered is that I think it's Commonwealth of Australia was offered free of charge to the government of Australia.
Yeah.
All they had to do was to pay to have it shipped to Australia, and they turned it down.
Yeah.
So there's the 7th A4 that was all set to be preserved, and all it needed was somebody.
Which are the 2 American ones? Is it Eisenhower's one?
Dwight D. Eisenhower, and I think is it Dominion of Canada?
I'm not sure. Did both of them come over for the gathering? Or?
Yes,
they did.
All surviving A4s came over. There was, it was the Great Gathering, 6 of them. But yeah, Dominion of Canada with a Royal Hudson at Montreal. All right. Oh yes, Wadden's over there as well, isn't it? Expo. I think that's Wadden that's over at Expo Rail in Montreal. And actually, I think they're being looked after. They're not going to deteriorate. They're not going to get broken up. They're in good hands. And I think that yes, it's flying the flag for Britain's railways over there. And I don't think it's a big issue. Maybe in the future they'll reach a point where maybe a British museum has something that they want more than those locomotives and they agree to do a swap. But, I don't think it's something that at this stage should be actively demanded. It's not like the Elgin Marbles or anything. Stuart Muir, it's a great shame that DJ Models is no more. Well, in some respects, yes, it's always sad to lose a manufacturer. But by the same token, I think that DJ Models has sadly shown how not to run a model railway manufacturer. And I think that the problem is that the person in charge, Dave Jones, had a lot of good ideas, but maybe he wasn't really in the best frame of mind for running a business. And running a business is very different from producing models. And sadly, he's fallen into a lot of the pitholes. And yeah, a lot of other manufacturers and other organisations have had an axe to grind, have not made life easy for him. but you can't expect them to just like lay out the welcome wagon for you. So, you know, unfortunately, DJ Models is no more. I think we're going to see some of the Hunslet. I think we're going to see that will be sold. It is an asset. It will be sold to liquidate money to pay off creditors. And my thoughts are that it may well even end up in Hornby's hand, because it would be for them quite handy to be able to instantly have a new retooled Hunslet Austerity. It's always been a good seller in their range since they acquired it from Dapol. But by the same token, you know, it could go anywhere. It could go to Bachmann, it could go to Dapol, could even be snapped up by Hattons, or even one of the smaller suppliers. Kerno could pick it up. They do have a working relationship, or at least did have a working relationship with DJ Models. So, you know, never say never. I think we will see some of these models turn back up. Even the Class 71, I could see a rival to Hornby snapping that up if they could get it at the right price. Or indeed even Hornby buying it cheap just to keep it off the market. So Mark Rice, hi Jen, I wish Didcot Railway Centre would fix Shannon, an 1800s full small pug, I think, with a cracked boiler. There are a few of these oldie worldy locomotives knocking about, but sadly I think they're probably in such a state that it would be cheaper and easier to build a complete replacement rather than rebuild them.
Good evening to Warrington Train Spotter 2778. How are you doing? Welcome back.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Somebody asked about how accurate is the film Train Spotting to actually train spotting. Now,
it's not about trains.
either that's a joke or we have a smart aleck in. But at the same time, did make me chuckle, hence the reason why I gave him the 2 seconds to mention it.
Oh, feeling generous today. The kid gloves made of actual bleeding children have been put in the cupboard tonight. So you've had a fresh polish over of the old dome wax.
What can I say? I've mellowed with a beer.
Yeah, he's feeling very benevolent. He bought me a beer as well.
I know. But it's become like the running joke now that we always seem to drink something different each time that we do one of these.
I try and
sooner
vary.
Or later we're going to run out of ideas.
Oh no, we're not. I've been to the Chinese wholesaler. We tried the sake.
No, you tried the sake. I wasn't going to have it.
It's like an elderly male yak had just taken a piddle in my mouth. It was horrible. Not that I'd know what an elderly male yak tastes like, but how I imagine it would have been. Right. So yeah, there was lots of other beers. There was a nice beer in like a Buddha bottle. It was very gimmicky for tourists.
Yeah.
But there is certainly a lot of booze that we can, there's 52 weeks in a year. So I reckon that I could source a few thousand different alcoholic beverages. I mean, when you think all the Scotch whiskies, that'd keep us going for a couple of years if we had a different one each night. So there you go. Donate on the super chat, and maybe next week we'll have enough money for a different beverage that you can watch us slowly get drunk on.
Matt Wilson, with all the 47s about, you think they should make a Falcon or a Lion? I have to be honest with you, I've noticed in the background there's been a couple of mentions tonight about Kestrel, Lion and Falcon. The thing is that they were a huge failure. Unfortunately, like a lot of prototypes, they really were. It'd be nice to have one remade aesthetically. It's really just one of those. It looked nice on the shelf somewhere. Yeah,
I think the problem with them was that they were just test beds. The technology was advancing very quickly, and excuse me, to be honest, the design was outdated even before the locomotive rolled off the shop floor because things moved on. Diesel engines were advancing so rapidly that very quickly you could get huge amounts of power out of a single compact power unit. You didn't need double engines anymore.
But at the same time, Matt Wilson, are you by any chance the Matt Wilson that I know that's a bus crank? He used to do a couple of bus tours. Just what you mentioning earlier about the Optare, curious. But anyway, no, I mean, seriously, rebuilding these things, I don't think they should. I honestly, there are certain ones of the prototypes that really should stay in the past. A bit like GT3. I mean,
or fell.
Yeah, but I mean, GT3 looked amazing, but it killed 3 or 4 people.
It
It's
set
like-
fire to a lot of signal
It's-
gantries and
It
bridges.
set fire to a bridge and sucked up a young child into the turbine. At that point, it's like, no, that it shouldn't be allowed back in any kind of
It was
form
a failed
whatsoever.
experiment, a bit like
Yeah.
Kerosene Castle. That there's a lot
Yeah.
of these experiments. It was a dead end technology, like the Fell diesel, a dead end technology.
Although they looked so awesome.
Yeah.
Fell looked absolutely mean.
The thing was, it was just
Unpractical,
desperately unreliable. It was hideously expensive.
Yeah.
It was I Like Transport who mentioned Optima.
Oh, my apologies.
Right.
But yeah,
How
Josh, I dare you both to try helium beer live on YouTube.
What's helium beer?
I haven't come across this, Josh. You'll have to tell me later.
Is this anything like Tactical Nuclear Penguin, which is like the strongest beer? It's like
Really?
it's a beer that's like something like 60% or something stupid like that.
Oh, they won't be
It's a
talking
whiskey,
trains.
isn't it? Tactical Nuclear Penguin is some kind of whiskey.
Yeah, the regulars
It's
will be
gotta be.
complaining because we won't be talking about trains.
You're my best friend. Yeah, you're my best friend.
That's the you'd all be complaining if you started playing drinking games. But I like where you're coming from. So I want to know what this helium beer is. So yeah, text me a link to that. I want to have a nose.
Yeah.
Did I go to Crewe on Saturday? No, I'm
We
afraid
keep
I
saying
didn't.
it's right. For the
Yeah.
benefit of everybody who's joined later, we didn't go to
No,
Crewe.
I was going to, must admit, but things just got in the way.
Well, I
and,
was
yeah.
working Saturday. I actually got asked by Hattons if I
Yeah.
was going along. So there will be some more filming with Hattons later on. I've got an open invite to go back to Hattons and do some more filming. So it'd be interesting to see some of their new products. And also, I quite like the idea, and I'll float this out there if anybody from Hattons is watching, of doing a live stream, maybe live from the Hattons test
that'd
track.
be cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. So maybe a Monday night thing.
Hmm.
I'll run this past Richard at Hattons and see what he says. But that might be a nice little collaboration because these live streams do really well.
Yeah.
And as a lot of people have noticed, there were Ham Shackleton sticking on topic didn't last long as normal. We tend to meander, so I think that being in an environment where we're around the model trains and we can
Yeah.
talk about Hattons' project. It's not something I'd like to do all the time because we'd just become the Hattons show. But certainly, I think every once in a while it'd be nice to drop in there and see what's going on. And
I want to have a proper mess about the one there 66s with the sound fitted as well.
yeah, when are they actually released?
Well, not for a while yet because they've only got 2 or 3 of the pre-production models that they've been sent. But it can't,
I got
can't be
to
far
handle
off.
it when I went and filmed it. I got to handle it and see it go around the test track. So access all areas. Stick with me, and you'll get access all areas. See?
So, not the same Matt Wilson. Well, never mind. But there's 5,000 of you on Facebook. 5,000! Wow.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. If your name is Bob Smith, trying to track it. Oh, I went to school with Bob Smith. I'll just look him up on Facebook. No chance.
Transport in South East, we can't answer questions like that.
Andrew Keeley. When I met with Richard in New York City, I mentioned you. Is that Richard from Hattons? All right, yeah, because he also he shares a collection interest with me with classic books, Penguin Popular Classics. So. Transport in South East. So how's the Great Model Railway Challenge?
I've just said we can't answer that.
We can't. Right, for the benefit of people of Friday, Steve Flint has put a video out on Twitter. You can go and watch that, but we're not going to talk about it. But the only thing we will say is that, yes, the top secret project was Great Model Railway Challenge, and we really can't talk about it. We've just signed NDAs,
Yeah.
so
We'll get into trouble if we say anything.
Yeah.
We didn't mention it to anybody except obviously to those that we know that obviously were taking
yeah.
part
Obviously,
as
my
well.
wife didn't think, hey, they've been a long time at B&Q. Where have they gone?
But for obvious reasons, and then obviously the TV company has obviously okayed Steve Flint to
We
put this.
assume that's been okayed. As we feature in that video, then we're not going to deny it. It's like, but there you are.
Yeah.
So like you're in it, I'm in it, Stefan's in it.
Yeah.
Did anybody else? Was anybody else visible?
I think Les was visible in it. I think.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
you all knew Les was in it as well.
Yeah,
That's why we had
so,
him in the
yeah.
basement doing scenery stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, come on, Les, calm down.
But we can't answer anything else. We do sign these contracts and what have you. So.
Yeah, and they are super serious. At the end of the day, it's a TV series, and there's no point in making a TV series if everybody talks about what goes on in it before it's transmitted. The whole point is that you watch it because you want to know what happens.
Yeah.
And believe me, it's a bloody good series. You're going to enjoy watching it, so get yourself in front of the TV on Channel 5 when it's shown. You will not be disappointed. Most likely because you'll see me in it. See, who could be disappointed with a programme that's got me in it? Yeah, Grandad Choo Choo, hush hush, wink wink, nudge nudge, wink wink, say no more. This is hitting the spot, by the way, in case you hadn't noticed.
Negative comments regarding being static. What, really? 66623 being static loco for the Midland Railway Gala. Freightliner are disappointed at the comments. Well, I am not surprised if there's negative comments. Okay, that puts
people. Yeah, because at the end of the day, a lot of people go to these events because they want haulage. I couldn't care less about that, but you know what I mean about.
Yeah,
this.
I mean, I do the same. You know what I mean? There's thousands of us that do and pay good money to do it because it's the only time you can travel behind these locals. Now, I don't actually need that 66 for haulage, but if I did. I would be extremely annoyed.
Especially if you turned up and it's there and they go, we're not using it.
You can look at it, but that's it.
Yeah.
I'd be extremely annoyed.
Yeah. Grandad Choo Choo, ballasting on speed. No, speed ballasting. It's basically doing ballast really quickly.
Yeah.
They're still doing a good job. So you can go and watch my video on that.
And I have to say, the Growler has finished that ballasting. Completed.
You're the man. You're the man. I will drink to that.
Yeah, cheers for that, Josh. Yeah, I definitely will be checking that out because you've got me intrigued about that.
So has that got like helium in the bubbles? So you like go. Oh, I've got really high pitched, or something like that. Right. Anyway, meanwhile, back. Oh, what's that? Dovan's GWR. Yeah, but getting his own staff to pay £20 for a look at the Severn Valley Railway teaks. What's that in reference to?
I think this is going back to comments made about Pete Walkman, I think.
Yeah, you've got a history there, haven't you?
I'm not going there with that.
Exactly, right, okay. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch. Back in a sec, train sporting southeast. Okay, we shall wait with bated breath.
Yes. We shall press the pause button and wait.
Okay, yeah. We'll press the pause button. No, I can't hold that pause. Right. Yeah, no problem. You're welcome, the Growler. Ballasting is... You'll side with me on this, won't you, the Growler? Ballasting is not a black art. Essentially, a lot of people allow the idea of doing ballasting to kind of make them worried. They think, oh, no, I can't ballast. And actually, ballasting is quite easy. And that was one of the reasons that I wanted to actually... do the video about how to speed lay ballast on a model railway like a pro, is because by doing it fast, it's kind of showing, look, it's so easy, you can do it that fast. I did the same with laying the inset track and the cobbles, because that's another area that I see a lot of people go, oh, I want to have this inset track, and I don't know how do you do this? And it's like, look, here's an easy method, and look, I'm going to do it so quickly. You go, wow, it must be easy, because it's just like bish bash bosh. There it goes. Don't be foxed by it. Have a go at ballasting.
Your ballasting, the way that you do yours, is obviously because of your era that you model. And your ballasting does tend to be more sort of darker, older ballast, and the techniques
that's just down to the dye I put in it.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Can put less dye in. If you want clean ballast, you don't put dye in the glue.
Obviously, with me doing modern image stuff, one thing that I will do though is actually for the different techniques and the different ballast finishes. There is another YouTuber that actually does like your channel, and I don't.
What, he does like my channel.
Yeah, and
he does videos like I do on my channel.
Well, both.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Who is it?
And this is New Junction.
Oh, is he does he follow me?
I'm sure he does. It was mentioned on
Do we
Facebook.
have
There
New
was
Junction in the house?
But
Who's in the house? New Junction.
But-
Are you in the house?
The-
I do watch his videos. Actually.
Yeah, and some of the things that he does are more modern image, like myself. But the techniques that he uses are slightly different to yours as well.
Yeah,
and
and-
that's always a good thing as well, to be able to compare.
And this is something that I want to make clear, is that there's no right or wrong way of doing a lot of things in Roman modelling. There are many different techniques that are all equally as valid, and don't let people say, oh, you're doing that wrong. At the end of the day, if you're getting the effect that you want from a method that you're comfortable doing, stick with that method, because it clearly works. And anybody who says things like, oh, I'd have used static grass for that, it's like, yeah, you might have done, but I didn't, and I've got a good effect, and I've done it really quickly. What are you laughing about?
Because I know where that's come from.
He knows the reference. Are you finished?
Sorry.
But no, it's like, and they didn't even notice it wasn't static grass until they got like this close to it.
It's another story for another day. But
It is, yeah. Right. So I like transport. Ballasting is very eerie in O gauge. It's harder with the N gauge, but still easy. Yeah. That's the thing about ballast, is that there's ways and means to get it done right. And I find that it really does make a layout. And usually, actually, ballasting is one of the first areas of scenic stuff that I start with on a layout. Because it very quickly starts to feel like you've got a layout rather than a train set once the track disappears into that. And I've got a few other tips as well. Don't forget my speed ballasting video, the talk about the marker pens to colour the sides of the rails. It was a little trick that after some experimentation I found, and it really does actually work. And up in the loft, the durability of that seems to be lasting. And if you want it darker, you can always touch it up with the black marker pen, but it does seem to stay put.
Good night to you there, Leslie. Thank you for joining us.
Good night to you. Always good to have you in, and hopefully we'll see you again. We're not back next week, but hopefully, are we back the week after?
Yeah, I think we are.
I need to check we're doing a lot of stuff at the moment, so there will be a video going up on Monday, but it won't be a live stream. Certainly in the future, like I said before, we're going to try and organise something with Hattons. Like I said, I spoke to Richard. I think it was Friday or either Friday night or Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So he confirmed there is an open invitation to do more filming at Hattons. So I know you want to take a look.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He just wants to go, oh, so what bargains have you got? Oh, what do you...
I'm going to go around with the swag bag, mate. What are you on about?
Yeah, the thing about Brian, I think you might be suffering over some misconception here. There's no freebies. It's like you can have a gold-plated Rolls Royce if you pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing I stress when I went and did the filming. I did pick up a lot of stuff, but I paid full retail price for it, and I think that's important at the end of the day. A business is there to make money. That's what they're in business to do.
Joking aside, they've still got to pay the bills, same as everybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing as well is I don't want accusations of being in the pocket of any particular manufacturer. Nothing against Hattons. I'd say the same about Rails or Kerno or Invicta, or 53A models, or Tim at Arcadia. All great model shops. But I think if I was getting freebies, then if people know you're getting freebies, it kind of compromises your integrity as an impartial reviewer. I know I haven't done a lot of reviews recently, but I don't want people to think that I'm sort of paid for and bought by any particular manufacturer or retailer. I want to work more closely with a lot of retailers and manufacturers, but I want to do it on terms where I'm still completely independent.
And that way, the reviews that you get, the comments that you get, full well then that at least then it is a proper, honest opinion and not bought. Okay, let's have a look. Matt Wilson, why does 50007 carry the number 50014 number as well? Well, quite simple. The guys that follow Class 50s are probably the most fanatical diesel fans on the planet. I know quite a few myself, and it's basically just paying homage to a locomotive that's been scrapped. Number 14, I think previously was a different one as well. I think actually...
So when did the real one get scrapped? Was that back in the day?
Yeah, back in the day, yeah, number 14.
It wasn't one of the Operation Collingwood fallen,
No, it wasn't, no. So, yeah, it's just one of those things that they just like to do. It's like the same with the Deltic fans as well have done it before.
And it has to be said, even in the Steam circles, they'll occasionally repaint locomotives as long-scrapped sister locomotives.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a bit of variety, why not?
And let's face it, when it comes to the owners of the Class 50, when GBRF's paying for the repaint, why not?
Yeah. So I like transport. I discovered the wrong way of building a hill a few days ago. The wrong way is build a card hill structure, then put wet plaster cloths on top. Ooh, I can say that. Did it go a bit squidgy?
Yeah.
You need something solid that doesn't go floppy with water. Has to be said. Yeah, which is why I've liked using jab light. You can use other stuff, scrap wood, chicken wire is also good. But the one thing you have to watch out for with chicken wire, though, is that the chicken wire rusts in your plaster. Yeah. And then you can have, like the concrete cancer where it spalls.
Yeah.
That can also discolour the top layer as the rust percolates through. So just be careful about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fly Mode Chairman 1. I like transport. Sounds like a tough lesson learned there. I tried the chicken wire paper and plaster, but the paper wasn't thick enough. Oh, so you ended up with like the outline of the chicken wire through the plaster. It's something you have to be careful of. So I really like the J-cloth method that somebody suggested and I then ran with, and I've become a firm advocate of
I think you've taken credit for spreading that far and wide since, I think.
Yeah, but I always forget who it was who suggested it, but I always make it clear that it's not my idea.
It's a really good technique.
It is, actually, yeah. It's basically papier-mâché, but without your paper just going into a mush.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good tip, and big thanks to the person who put me onto that. Because I would never have thought of it myself. But that's... fly screen, yeah. So James Hardy, what do you use to stick ballast with? Just diluted PVA glue. Now, don't use Speed Bond. Now, Now, Speed Bond is notionally quick-drying PVA. But it's got some kind of an acid in, because what we've noticed, and it's not just us that's noticed this, other people that we know have tried it and have come up with similar problems, Speed Bond will bleach other scenic materials, and it has been known for it to turn Gauge Master scatter a somewhat lighter colour than it started out as.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is because it contains an acid, it can turn your rails slightly green. Now, nickel-silver rails are an alloy of, I think it's like nickel, copper and steel.
Yeah.
And what happens is the acid causes the copper to leach out into copper. Is it green? It would be something like copper sulfate of some description. So your rails can turn green, which is never a good thing. And the other thing as well is if you use the Geoscenic's ballast dye in your glue mix, the acid in the deluxe materials causes it to separate out and turn into like a fibrous mess, and really just makes a complete hash of your ballast. So the best glue that I've found for sticking ballast is go down to somewhere like Hobbycraft and buy yourself, I think it's 5 litres of school PVA glue. That's all it's called, school hobby PVA glue. It's bog standard, dirt cheap, and then you dilute that down. And I don't know how many parts water to how many parts glue I use, but you'll know when you get it right. You just keep diluting a little bit, and it'll be a little bit thick, almost like cream, and then all of a sudden it will flow perfectly, and that's the correct constituency. But I don't know what the mix is.
And also, as well as Transport pointed out there, diluted with a drop of washing up liquid does make a huge difference.
I never do. And I know a lot of people do, but I don't. And I've not had any problems. And you've seen my ballasting.
Yeah, no,
in fact,
I have, yeah.
You guys have seen my ballasting. I never use washing up liquid.
I do myself, but each to their own.
So how much easier would you say it makes it? Because all you're doing is it's destroying the surface tension so that the glue mix percolates through the ballast quicker. But you see, if you've got plenty of time, is there a problem? So I'm always worried if you put too much in, when you shake up this mix, it'll just foam up, and you don't want foam everywhere.
Yeah, well, that's why it's only a drop, so you're not getting that foam.
I've never used washing up liquid. It does work. A lot of people do it, but it's not the end of the world if you don't.
Somebody asked, that's just gone off the page, so sorry I missed the name, asking you if you have or ever been offered or would like to go and do a vlog with Hornby.
Oh yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have been offered. The trouble is that Hornby's at the other end of the country, and whilst the invite was very generous to go on down there and get a full guided tour and stuff, the cost of me getting down there, and I would have to stay overnight as well, that's quite a big commitment. So it was very generous of Hornby to invite me. I wasn't invited on my own. I was invited as part of a larger group of people involved in various things, but I can't make it.
I will be.
You are going?
I'm going, yes.
So where are you staying? Have you booked a hotel?
No, you're joking, aren't you? I'm just going to crash out with Simon's sofa, I think.
Does he know?
No, he doesn't know. Not yet.
You know he still...
I'll just rock up with beer, he'll be fine.
When I last checked, he still lives with his parents.
Oh, does he? Well, it's a good job I've got friends down there, then, isn't it?
I can imagine... I've met Simon's father, actually. Simon's father is sound as a pound. He's a good bloke.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I've got friends down there. I've got different places that I can stay.
You could sleep like sardines in Simon's bed. He can sniff your feet all night. Simon, if you're watching, no, we're just joking. We're just teasing. Flymo Chairman 1, copper chlorate, CuC. Yeah, yes. If the acid is hydrochloric acid, then yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grandad Choo Choo, 50-50 with washing up liquid drop. I think that's a bit of a stiff mix, personally. I like to go more a sort of a 1 to 4. So probably, 1 to 4.
Also, that
20...
depends on how deep you're ballasting as well. I mean,
you don't
obviously,
want it too thick.
Well, I know, yeah, but obviously for those that do a modern image, the way that ballast is laid these days, if you're going to get it,
well, you've got your
accurate,
shoulders.
Yeah, so actually,
but in double O, that shoulder's not as thick as you think. You're only maybe going like maybe half a centimetre, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's nothing. I wouldn't see 50-50. I'd say that's probably, for me, I wouldn't lay the PVA into the ballast that thick. I would go 25-75 in favour of the water, if not 20-80. Because when it sets, it actually does set hard as a rock. I wouldn't worry about the strength, even down to that kind of a mix. But it flows through the ballast much, much better, and you don't end up with like more solid patches of PVA. That's just my opinion. Like I said before, there's no right way, no wrong way. There's many different ways to achieve the same effect.
Now then, Transporting Southeast, you got a 3D printer yesterday and already started on Panny and Tank. Did you by any chance get a 3D printer from Aldi?
Were they selling them?
Yeah, this was, in fact, I think it was Josh, that pointed this out to me earlier. Believe it or not, but yes, Aldi have now started selling 3D printers.
I mean, people have asked me before, would you go the 3D printing route? And I don't envisage doing that myself.
Oh, I would.
But, now, hear me out here. The thing about 3D printing is I can see that it is a major boon to not just our hobby, but a lot of other hobbies as well, and engineering. It's really great for test printing stuff, things like that. And what we're seeing there, because when you think about it, this is the future of a lot of things. I mean, you imagine the replicators in Star Trek. This is the start of replicator technology. This is where it all begins. Now, I'm putting my sci-fi hat on here.
It's a very long journey, though, before it becomes anything like that. But it's true.
40
this
years.
is a start.
I would say like 30, 40 years. Yeah. And I think probably the next step is I can see in confectionery, for example, I can see them printing sweeties into some quite outlandish shapes quite readily, and being able to make the kind of sweets that you couldn't make now. I can see that happening if you replace the filaments with edible stuff. You know, this is the future. 3D printing is the undisputed future, and we are here at early days. So make the most of it. It makes making a lot of things a lot easier.
I would like to actually point something out here when it comes to these 3D printers, is that as they get better, Now, if you think about it, okay, at the moment you go absolutely mad for a new model that comes out that is a version of an old model, okay, and they've updated it. Now, for an example, the first thing that off the top of my head that I could think of was, say, if for instance, if you've got a Batman 37 and then suddenly they bring out the Merleys 37.9. All right, now actually not the Merleys one, the Rust. No, it is the Merleys one.
There's
the
the Merleys and there's a Ruston.
The Merleys one that has the different roof detail to it. Now, just suppose if for 1 minute that, you know, basically you had a choice. You've got an older class 37, don't really do much with, and you basically you can change the body on it if you really wanted to, or you go out and you pay an absolute fortune for Bachmann's latest version with the new roof detail. Or what do? You got a 3D printer, you get used to using the CAD software, you scan in your original body that you actually have, and then make the adjustments yourself and then print it off yourself. And that would then, with the way the cost of 3D printing these days, would probably cost you about £3 or £4. Just saying. You know, this could be something that in one way could harm the industry, but in another way could benefit from the cheaper chassis and things like that have been sold separately.
See, I'm looking at Nedwood's name, 3D printer, all those job losses, not always good. But I think, you know, sometimes there has to be this paradigm shift in the way we are. There's jobs around now which didn't used to exist. And would you really want to go and work down a coal mine? You know, there's some jobs that actually weren't very nice. And, you know, I think that 3D printers are the future. And I don't think they're going to put people out of work. I think they're going to change the nature of a lot of work. There's always going to be a market for making certain things.
I think, if I'm being honest, a lot of the things that 3D printers are going to do is going to replace, more than anything, the items they're going to replace in our country, in our economy, is going to be from small Chinese parts that are specifically made to go in products that we make. Yeah. Because the majority of of smaller plastic parts like that are not actually made in this country.
Yeah, and you know, you could argue that they're not putting people out of jobs in the UK. They're putting people out of jobs in China, and if anything, they're creating jobs in the UK that are displaced from China. I mean, now the Chinese might be a bit unhappy about that, but are you unhappy about that? Incidentally, we've got 111 people watching.
Oh, well done. That's good. That's good.
We've breached the...
I'm just going.
I've got an appointment with...
okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Chat with Brian, and like the hair's growing back a bit. But
hey, no, that's for continuity reasons. Of course, that's got to be gone over. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Continuity on Crime Watch. You could.
No. You see, yeah. Hey, I didn't say that. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's not for good luck. Ned's name. I get what you mean, and I do understand what you mean when it comes to things like that, and then taking away jobs in certain ways. A lot of new technology does. But having said that, I think that at the same time, my own personal opinion on it, and I know everybody's different, I think that, you know, from my point of view, I think less things should be imported in the first place so that we could have jobs first in this country. And that's not really something that is a popular view. So, yeah, I do get where you're coming from. Well, let's have a look. Like a 3D printer, but they're expensive, says I Like Transport. Well, that is true. They are expensive. And I think that the one from Aldi is probably going to be the cheapest, nastiest quality in the world. It's probably not going to cost a great deal of money. You will probably regret buying it. But it's like everything in life. It starts somewhere. And if that becomes the first sort of supermarket cheap 3D printer, then so be it. It's how it evolves from there. So the people that make these printers, they gauge people's interest in them by the amount of sales that they get for the cheap ones that they put out to start off with, and then they then decide how much money that they're going to invest in making much better ones at a reasonable price. So it's like anything in life, new products, they need to be bought, tried, tested, thrown in the bin as being rubbish before they ever get improved. Let's have a look. There's also the bespoke market for 3D printed items. I've heard of 3D printed medicines. Yeah, that is true actually. This goes back very much so to what Jenny was saying about food replicators as well. You know, one of these days we're going to get to that point. I think that a good thing to think about, I mean, it's bad for things like farming and things like that, I think, in this country, to be able to have replicators and what have you. But at the same time, I think for trying to get certain ingredients in certain people's diets without actually having to physically mix them yourself with a certain controlled diets, I think it could have a very, very large impact on. Transport in South East, the pannier tank is 75% done. Well done to you.
That's
coming
pretty
along
good
nicely.
going, yeah.
Yeah. Greg Palmer, spray on fuzz, do you mind? Black static grasses, Ham Shackleton. Oh, you started something now, you have.
Yeah, we had we tested out a static grass machine on his head. It came out quite nice. I mean, look at that, they sticks on him.
Now the thing is, I mean, one thing, if ever, and Josh will back me up, my other half is amongst you there, and anybody ever seen Lee Evans live on stage?
Oh, with guttering.
With guttering for the amount of sweating. I'm like that in the summertime. So basically, as soon as it gets warm weather, that's it.
We need to order up some ratio guttering and just fit in.
There's Josh. Yeah. So hi. So yeah. So you'll be able to back me up on this. Yeah. In the summer months, I do need guttering. I like transport. Maybe 3D print is the way for a Class 175 model.
Yeah.
Every week we do this. You have an obsession with having a 00 gauge Class 175. And the thing is, in real life, the units are the most horrible, unreliable, fireball, just dramatically bad things ever made. And yet, actually, they look really nice. And actually, our model would actually look really, really good.
Do you know what I'd love to see is one of the SECR crane tanks.
Crane tanks?
It's like a steam engine, but
Right.
with a crane on.
Oh, yeah, I know what
You
you
know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah,
You know,
that was a bit
back in the
random.
days before. No, I thought we were talking about models we really wanted to see. Is it Action Man Fuzzy real hair feel, Jenny? I don't know. I never had an Action
Yo,
Man.
actually, yeah. I mean, I did have one, and actually, yeah, it does have that feel to it. It's just got to that point now where it's got like a week or so's growth on it, so it is a bit like
Well,
that.
see, what I mean, this is the thing that always amazes me, because everybody knows my partner's Zoe, so I don't get to do this very much. But it's like that's like super smooth,
Yeah.
and yet here,
Oh,
ooh,
yeah.
spiky.
Yeah, that grows. I really want to grow a
Captain Birdseye.
no a sort of oh, what do they call them now? What was the name of
Goatee?
that band?
Hipsters.
No, that rock band.
I can think
I
of
think that with a massive
Napalm Death. Oh, ZZ Top.
CZ Top
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a big beard down here, but unfortunately it grows like it's really
It ain't
is like
happening.
hay, so it ain't happening.
So how long can you get it before you just start to look like you've let yourself go?
Pretty much about now.
Yeah. Right. I've
Let's
never
have
seen
a
an
look.
actual crane tank being modelled in 00 gauge. There's Fly Mode Chairman one.
Oh, I have. Well, no.
They
I
tend
say-
to
I
be
say being
scratch
modelled, yeah.
built or kit bashed. Actually, I think an O gauge. I'm thinking of the O gauge one.
There is an O gauge actual kit for one. I know I've definitely seen that, but I've seen a few 00 gauge ones.
I think I've got a photo of a Great Western 240.
And ZZ Top. Everybody got that one right except for me. Yeah, but you knew it was on about straight away. I must have that look about me. Ham Shackleton, yours looks like an exploded Brillo pad. I'm with you on that, mate. Yeah, definitely. And the older that I get as well, the worse it gets. But there you go. So yeah, getting back to this 175 thing, I have to elaborate on this. For those of you that don't know, I know there's a lot of steam purists amongst you who probably don't pay any attention to modern image, and I can understand that. Everybody, to their own era, each to their own, and things like that. Completely understand it. But if a 175 unit was to come to market in 00, I definitely would have to get one, even though I hate the real things. And this is because it is one of the oddities of modern railways. The train itself is rubbish. However, the design is actually a really nice, attractive design. It does have that European feel to it. It looks like it belongs in maybe Spain or somewhere like that. But of course, they're a rubbish build. So they look the part, and of course, if they were in model, you would hope, operate the same as any other model train. So therefore, it would be more reliable than the real thing. So there you go. Let's have a look. Train spot in Southeast. Your wife thinks it's a brilliant idea to move house. Okay, does that give you more room? Does that give you more modelling space? Because if that's so, go for it.
Because the thing is, when Zoe and I moved here, it was actually from a rented house, but the space I had for modelling was, if you've seen Grove Street Yard is the space that I had available to me for a model. So to go from that to, well, you've seen my loft layout, you've seen my shed layout, which is sadly no more, dismantled that. You saw the garden layout, the new garden layout, all of that space, because I moved house. So moving house isn't necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, where is she moving? That reminds me of the old Les Dawson joke.
Except my wife. No, I mean, seriously.
that reminds me of the old Les Dawson joke. It was like excuse me, sir, carry your bag. Nah, let her walk.
See, I can't say things like that about my other half. They say things like that about me, of course, don't we, Josh?
Yeah. No.
But no.
You can't say anything about your other half because they're there. they're there. Where this finger's waggling. Oh, look at that! Look at my finger. Oh, that's really weird.
The Class 170 Northern livery looks great. I hope Batman do one. Right. Okay. Listen. Amongst you all out there, because I know that there's, there's a lot of serious modelers amongst the regular viewers. Okay. So here's a task for you. There are two particular items that I need. All right. One is a 3-car 170 in the new Northern colours. Okay. The other one is a 3-car 158 in the new Northern colours. And obviously then I will then DCC fit them, sound fit them, double sound chip, everything for my own collection. But if there's anyone amongst you who is shit up with resprays and putting the decals on, please let me know if you have them in your collection for sale, or can give me a quote on doing them, and you've got samples of your work. Basically, you know how to get hold of me, my own page, of which I haven't plugged tonight, but that's fine, simply because there's no activity on at the moment. I've been busy, so yeah. But by all means, get in touch with me and let me know. Although reasonable prices only. I do know that resprays can cost a lot of money, but at the same time, I'm not daft. The latest Northern livery is basically white, a bit of blue, and the rest of it's all decal, so I'm not daft. So yeah. So if anybody has one of those in 00 or can do one at a reasonable price for me, let me know.
See, there's only one locomotive that I can think of that I really, really want in my collection that I don't already have. And that's the rebuilt Merchant Navy from Hornby. I think that's the only locomotive that I can think of that I really, really want one.
See, so you mentioned earlier today, I didn't actually realise that they'd actually done a rebuilt version of one.
Well, there's the Spam Can.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the name, but I mean, is that an unbuilt Merchant Navy?
Yeah, you know upstairs in the cabinet with all the Pullmans, there's that malachite green locomotive. That's an unrebuilt one.
Oh, okay. Because I did the same spam can before, but I didn't realise that was it.
Their nickname was spam cans because they look like a tin of corned beef.
Oh,
But the rebuilt ones are de-streamlined. And I had similar one, a West Country class. When I was little, I had a Barnstable West Country class. Never afford the Dorchester, really rare. So my dad got a Barnstable and converted it to 3-rail. And I love that locomotive. It still exists. It's in a display cabinet at my parents' house. But March of the Times, I'd love the Hornby Super Detail one. So if anybody's stuck what to buy me for Christmas... You're all sitting there thinking, you cheeky cow, I was going to buy you nothing.
I like transport. Am I still selling an Arriva Pacer? It's gone. It's been sold.
Oh, they don't hang around, do they? They're like gold
I could probably do you a good deal on a very rare West Yorkshire PTE Class 144 sound fitted, since I now have a pair.
Well, I thought you wanted a pair.
I do, yeah, because I know full well that nobody can afford to buy them off me. That's why I'm saying it. I mean,
is this like you being super smug? Like, oh, look at me, I've got expensive.
I have
model.
both the red and grey West Yorkshire 144s.
Oh, excuse me. There's something I need to do at this moment.
And both sound fitted in perfect condition, and one of which featured on our special project as well. But that one I'm definitely.
Will you shut up about that? Oh, there we are. Bobby Gamer X. I think someone should make a Class 02 right there with you.
I agree with that one.
I think the Class 02, 06 and 01 are the last great open goal, and certainly the 02 and the 06. I think are just screaming out to be made. They had a good operating sphere, a lot of nice liveries, lasted long enough to get BR tops numbers, but also pass on, in the case of the Class 2, into industrial use as well. So there's a variety of industrial liveries, and that plays nicely into the current market that seems to be there quite nicely for industrial locomotives, like the Andrew Barclay from Hatton's, the Peckett's, and the Ruston 48DS when it does appear from Hornby. I think a Class 2 is an obvious choice. And Hornby have proven that a short wheelbase 040, in the case of the Peckett W4, can be made to work really reliably. So I think a Class 2 is a good one to go. And I did actually suggest that to Hattons.
I don't mind one of them myself.
Yeah,
they just have a certain look about them, and I don't really do that many shunters, but actually,
BR tops blue, not really bothered about which number, it just has to be with the tops running number, and I'd be quite happy with that.
Yeah.
That would trundle around Weir Yard. I know that I think they were like Merseyside.
I think they were the Birkenhead and Bootle ones, weren't they? I think.
I'm sure that somewhere around there. It's why I suggested them to Hattons. I said, consider this because it's a small loco. It's got that industrial heritage as well as the BR operating, and it's a local loco. And he said, oh, we'll think about it. And so I'm hoping that might be something oh, we must listen to Jenny. Jenny is the font of all knowledge. Get her out the building and shut the door. Hammer crooked bits of wood across the window and don't let her back in. What's that, Richard? Oh, you muppet, you've invited her back.
So anyway, hello to Chris Lawson. Good to have you with us. Warrington Transport. You've got one of the Hornby Strathclyde Class 101s. It can be chipped. Pretty much anything can be chipped.
Oh, yeah, you could chip a toaster if you wanted to.
Yeah, you really could, yeah. And actually, the Hornby model isn't a bad model, really. Considering the fact it's not very well detailed, and it is, of course, the old Lima mouldings. It is still.
People who actually swear by it. They say that the body moulding is more accurate than the Bachmann one.
The length and the curvature of the carriages is actually more accurate than the Bachmann one.
Yeah.
So it might not be very well detailed and what have you, but actually, to be honest with you, very good model indeed.
I've seen people DCC chip the pocket rocket. So if you can do that, you can do anything.
Exactly.
I've done one of the ex-Daypole pugs. I've got this 51235 in weathered BR livery. I hardwired that with the. I personally think that the 4-pin Hornby chips, the ones that they do specifically for the Sentinel and the W4 packet, are actually a really good starting point for hardwiring something that doesn't have a DCC socket, because it won't have lights either. So you can pick these up for £12 is the cheapest I've seen them. You may be able to get them cheaper. So you can hardwire and chip these things very, very easily, and because there's only 4 wires, there's a lot less for you to mess up.
Yeah, I mean, basically just YouTube hardwiring chips, and you'll find dozens of videos with people taking you through it step by step.
I think there's a video on there of me doing the pug, which is
the
same idea, and I'm actually going to get a whole load more of them. Because I think they're quite a small chip as well, so they're really good to fit into the smaller locos. I mean, like the pug. I got it into a pug, and I didn't have to do any surgery to the pug at all to get that fitted in. It actually fits in the roof of the cab just above the boiler, so it's pretty unobtrusive.
Yeah.
And you've got loads of room in a 101.
Yeah, loads of it. Flyable Chairman, torches and pitchforks and all. It is possible to buy chipped toasters and kettles already. That is true, actually. Yes, it is.
Well, what do they do? Like talkie toaster? Would you like some toast?
you get ones that talk to your phone, so basically you leave.
Oh, what is the point? Why would you? Because the thing is, they're so poorly protected on the internet that they just become a massive botnet for some criminal gang hacking people's bank details. Do you really want your dishwasher to be working on the side for the mafia? No, there's no point. I mean, it's just like, no. Sometimes, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Exactly, yeah. Warrington Train Spot talking about modern railway. Is anyone doing an updated Class 91? Well, yes, they are.
Have you got an itchy nose?
Can't really say at this point,
Why
but
not?
yes.
Well, what do you know? How are you in the loop?
It's Modern Image, of course I'm in the loop.
With who?
Who's do you mind?
I
can't give this information.
Have you got a man
away
on the
yet.
inside or something?
I have indeed, yes.
So why haven't you told me?
Because it's Modern Image, it'll just go straight over your head.
Yeah,
I'll tell you in a bit.
Yeah, but I like to be in the loop.
Yes, somebody is doing that. That's not a problem. It is 4th down the list of a certain company, and you can put it on there as much as you want in the chat. I am not going to confirm either way or answer the question, simply because I was asked to keep my gob shut until they get the first one of the other ones released.
Although, in a roundabout way, you didn't keep your gob shut, because now everybody knows.
I did what I was going to do.
Right, anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Back at the ranch.
I think we've exhausted talking about DJ models. Although, if you saw that press release, go and have a look on RM Web. Other internet fora probably have it as well. And you can read it for yourself. And quite frankly, it's like... somebody's got some conspiracy theory issues going on there.
Yeah.
What else? The Heljan 45, will you be getting one? You said you would actually show.
I will, yes. I want Stuart Forrester, yeah,
have
definitely.
Have they given a price tag on that thing?
I did see the prices somewhere, yeah.
What sort of price are we talking about?
Because you can get them sound fitted, I think, for about $230, $240.
That's about the going rate, isn't it?
It's about the going rate, which isn't bad, really, considering the fact that this will be the first production fit 45 sound chip.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah, that's not bad.
And what about unsound fitted? Have they got a price bracket for that?
I can't remember, I'll be honest with you.
Right. And what about time frame for release? When are they looking to have these in the shops? I'm looking to you because I haven't really. I saw the press release and couldn't be bothered reading it.
There was a release, and if I remember rightly, it was the 2nd quarter of next year.
So probably see it just in time for Christmas next year, knowing how these things get pushed back.
I don't know. Yeah, this is the thing with Heljan. They're not actually that bad at doing that.
Now here's a question.
They are one of the better ones for timescales.
Here's a question for you. Will Bachmann warm over their 45 and finally release with a sealed beam version that everybody's been asking for, but they theoretically have the means to make but never have?
I really honestly do not think that that's going to happen. I can't say. I mean, we'll wait and see what the Heljan one is like. But if Bachmann have got any sense whatsoever, instead of risking, potentially hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of investment, they should wait and see first if the Heljan one flops or not. If it's a success, don't touch it,
I'll be honest, the cynic in me thinks that Bachmann will release a whole host of 45s in various different liveries in the run-up to Heljan's model.
Yeah, but Bachmann's not Hornby. Hornby would. Hornby definitely would. In fact, Hornby would do everything they possibly could to retool it as quickly as possible to get it out there.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I just happen to be nodding for completely unrelated reasons, honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we've been... Divans GWR, I'm thinking of getting a high mech. Is it Heljan do a really nice one? Or is it Heljan do one? It isn't necessarily really that way. Which one?
Yeah, the Heljan one is nice. The only other place that you can get one is, of course, the
Hornby.
Railroad Hornby. However...
is that... Richard Hall says there, Cavalex are developing a new Class 91.
Nothing to do with Cavalex's 91.
Right, okay. Let's have a look. What's it? I like transport. If you don't want to risk damaging the chip, you can buy sockets to wire. You can make it DCC ready using one of those. Yes, you can. But what I found was that actually hardwiring the 4-pin chip, there just isn't anything to go wrong. Now, if you were trying to hardwire a 21-pin chip, that is making work for yourself. But a 4-pin chip, all you need is those 4 pins. You've got 2 that go to your pickups, 2 that go to the motor. Job's a good one.
The Growler Class 303 out of stock at DC Models. Okay, do yourself a favour, message them. The guy that runs DC Kits and Real Track Models and a couple of others, go through the guy and see what he can do for you. He's an alright guy, he's very approachable, but if there isn't in stock, he might know where there's odds and of stock lying around. Unless there's a full complement of stock to put on the website, it won't be advertised.
So what's the stock he's looking for? Anyway, you're knocking the microphone.
It's the DC Kits Class 303 Glasgow Pullman DMU. Well, EMU should I say.
Is that a kit then?
It is a kit, yes.
Sometimes, I don't know, did other model shops stock them?
Not many.
Only get them through
not many. There's never really been that many.
We got Wolfie Wolfin. Hi there.
Hey, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, you're late. Oh, you're late again. Yeah, that's right. It's 7 o'clock BST, which is British summertime. Which, for those of you in other countries, go BST. Never heard of that. That's GMT +1. Yeah, daylight saving. It doesn't really save any daylight. It just moves it around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like transport. Prefer to use sockets anyway. Yeah, like I said before, no right way, no wrong way. Whatever works best to the right. And yeah, there's a lot of right ways of doing this. Don't worry about it.
Here's one I'm interested to know the answer to, actually. And that's Bobby Gamer. Has anyone got Class 70? And if so, any good?
Bachmann did the 70, didn't they?
Yes, it is a Bachmann one, yeah. It's one that I've been kind of putting off for a while. But no, actually, I think it should really be on the list soon for myself. So, yeah, if anybody out there does have a Class 70 or 2, I know some people actually started collecting full fleets of them, so they can't be that bad. I would like to know myself.
I mean, it's a fairly recent model, and I'd expect back when I've got it bang on. Oh, Wolfie Wolf, bacon and sausage time. You can keep the bacon, but I love sausage. I really do. Should we have sausage later on?
Didn't you say that you got a load of barbecue meats in?
I've got burgers and sausages, but I love sausage. Nice warm sausage. Love that.
So, Warrington Train Spotter. You've got a Class 70. It's a beautiful model. Well, yeah.
I love the way you just ignore me.
Yeah. I don't rise to these things. You know I don't. Okay, so let's have a look. We've got, I know Hornby really would. They'd get a retooling out ASAP. That is just what they do.
Yeah, I think... Oh, is that... You all right down there?
That's a bit random.
Apparently she's playing a game where a bunch of communists just turned into a dragon. So she should be rocking the juice box on the Xbox or something.
Yeah.
Leave her be. Anyway, where were we? Oh, it's that Wolfie Wolf. Oh, matron. I can't do Kenneth Williams. Can you do the
matron?
No. It's a very nasal voice.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, no, I can't do it.
I can't do it.
Can't do it.
So, yeah. Yeah, we've been going for over 2 hours now.
Yeah, I was
That's been
having
going quite quick.
2 hours, 13 minutes now.
Yeah, so Wolf, you've turned up pretty much as we're disappearing almost.
Yeah, we'll be going for about another 15 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
It'll be about 2 to 2.5 hours we aim for. So you're on bonus time now. But don't forget, everybody, if you want to watch the video, catch up on the bits that you may have missed, or indeed look over anything that you've heard tonight. Again, the video stays up on YouTube forever, and you can go back and watch that, and indeed you can go and watch any of the Jenny Monday Club. And also, incidentally, merchandise. Zoe? Do you have the link for the merchandise? We've got mugs. Sorry, what?
And she doesn't mean me.
Apparently we don't have links. Okay, sorry.
Oh, okay.
We've had some mugs made. We're waiting for the test ones to come. But you will be able to get your very own Jenny Monday Club merchandise mug, which will have the Weir Yard logo, but with Jenny Monday Club on. So it's certainly something that you can join the Jenny Monday crew and be part of the team with your coffee mug.
I should get a limited edition one with me, with just my head trying to do an impression of the moon like on Red Dwarf.
Do you?
Yeah, I should do, yeah.
Okay.
I need my charger.
Oh, you're sucking fumes.
There we go.
Sucking fumes, and Facebook has decided that the best thing to do
Is update?
not work.
Oh, right, well.
Utterly just not work.
Bit of computer
Is Zoe
trouble.
into trains? Definitely not.
No, she
But-
thinks that Gronks look pretty and have a nice silly name.
Yes.
Go on, Gronk. My
Oh, my poor heartsies.
Yeah. That's
And have you
Gronk
played
2080.
Train Sim World?
No.
No, I
No.
like Euro Truck Simulator though.
Actually, the closest we've got is A-Train 6. I don't know if anybody's familiar with A-Train 6. She's got that on PS2, partly because she needs it for a full collection, but also I think that was one we bought back in the day.
Might be.
But certainly, because quite a few of you asked about mugs, we listened and we delivered, and we've got. She's just typing in the web address. Just I'll try and string this out and cover up the fact that we weren't prepared. But we got these mugs printed up, so it's got the JK logo on one side, from what I remember, and it's got the Jenny Monday Club logo on the other. So you
Okay,
can snag yourself your
that should work.
customised coffee mug.
At http://tspring, all one word, TWESPRING.com/stores/all-mouse MOUSE-media.
They're not 3D printed mugs,
They're
but
professionally printed mugs.
professionally. We have a guy called John in a shed somewhere making these.
There's no amateurs just slapping it out with a bit of paint, you know. This is professional.
Dishwasher
Professional
safe.
amateurs slapping it out with a bit of paint.
Yeah, dishwasher safe. You know. Hi Zoe. Hope you are well.
That's Josh.
Yeah, I'm doing alright.
Yeah.
Okay, my phone is going to bleep at you constantly because people won't leave me alone today after I made that game.
Ah, fair enough.
Yes, Zoe on her channel over on Game Hammer.
Game Hammer Classic Gaming.
Game Hammer Classic Gaming is she's coded live the most up-to-date program available for the Amstrad 464. So if you're CPC 464. So if retro computers are your bag, head on over to Game Hammer Classic Gaming and you can catch up with Zoe and her coding escapades. No, the mugs are not made out of paper. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. They are real mugs. Well, I hope they are, because we're still waiting for the test ones to arrive. But certainly, if you want to be part of the Monday crew, you can advertise your Monday crewness with your customised mugs. And I'm going to try and have a bit more merch on the way as well. I don't think you've arrived until you've got merch for your channel.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, what are you looking at? Is that... Oh,
well, I was just checking out the Scally that's just parked outside.
Scally?
The CCTV, for those that don't know.
You mean my neighbour?
Next to us, there's a TV monitor there that's linked up to the CCTV around the house.
It's great for watching the world go by.
It makes you a proper curtain twitcher, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, without having to twitch the curtains, it's great. All right, let's have a look at... I'm just curious how many people are on the live stream now. We reached 111.
I think we've scared most people off by now, surely.
107. It's dropped a little bit.
Yeah, but 107. Well done. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, look, it's great to have you all
Yeah.
on. And actually, because I can feel that I'm very drunk, so I'll start being silly anytime soon. Yeah, look, shut up. I know I'm being silly already, but more silly, yeah. So I'll go and I will gently rub the old bone dome coverage there. That is soft. That does feel like a Gauge Master grass mat. That is quality feel, though.
Have you seen what you've done, Josh, by doing this to my hair?
That
I know I asked you to do it, but people are treating my head like it's like a Buddha belly. You know, they're rubbing it for good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get you down to Dome Depot for some dome wax.
Yeah, afraid so.
But anyway,
So-
look, it was Ham Shackleton, $9.99 each. Yeah, that's the one. Not the cheapest, but they're personalised. I mean, it's one of those things. If we could order like 1,000 of them, it'd bring the price right down. But no obligation. Don't worry about it. What's that? Wolfie Wolf, get yourself an Axis 213 PT. Oh, pan, tilt and zoom. I do want one of them. Our system is compatible to have one of those. And I really like the idea of being like some kind of store detector in Mothercare in 1982. What you doing? What you doing? You dirty person.
Oh.
But anyway, we're going to... was it Josh Dawson? Wish she would leave it alone. You will go bald.
I know, I will at this rate.
Actually, no, you're holding on to your hair pretty well there.
I am actually, considering
Yeah.
the fact that all the other guys in our family can go bald at the age of 21. So I've actually done rather well.
Yeah, you
I've lasted twice as long.
Yeah, because you turn around. There's no.
Oh no!
You're not even got. It's not even thinning at the back. It is.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody has basically done you with a static grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been done with static grass. It's there for you, like Wayne Rooney after he had his thing done. It looked like he had a zip round the edge. Ooh.
Anyway, on that note.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been really
So-
good to have you along. I hope you've enjoyed this live stream. We've shot the breeze. We talked a little bit about the demise of DJ Models, as well as the new 45 that has been announced from Heljan. Really looking forward to see that when it comes. We've also talked about a few other things, and yes, if you joined us at the start, no, we didn't go to the Crewe Open Day, and yes, we are in GMRC. Well, we were, Steve Flint's already blown the gaff, so that's all we can say. Good night to you all. And Josh Dawson, yes, please tell her she is sloshed. Yes, she is.
She knows.
I Like Transport, excellent stream. Thanks. Well, thank you to you, and good night to you all. It's been great to have your company. Don't forget to tell your friends about the live stream, and also go and check out all the other videos on the channel. We've got a lot of great stuff there. It's really good to have you along. But until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take really good care of yourself. Bye for now.
See you later.
Oh, and actually one final thing before we go. Next Monday there won't be a live stream, but there will be a video. So unfortunately we're quite busy on various projects, but normal service will be resumed as soon as possible. Anyway, you all take really good care, and bye for now.